Did you get a chance to join Flight Earth and Glow? Discussion grew to discover all the truth. How the sun, the moon, the stars are all revolving around you. There's no more secret. The earth is stationary, it is fixed on move. The earth is stationary, it is fixed on move. The earth is stationary, it is fixed on move. They fooled you with that CGI. Sending rockets into the sea and then faking that life ISS feed. No matter how high you go, horizons rise to eye level. Hangout from the world's greatest fiction. Show you won't need your globe. God will send you more. Over 120 scriptures support the geocentric design of this earth. Railroads, bridges, lighthouses, fail corrections, make mistakes. Don't be fooled by perspective tricks. It's unlimited Operation Fishbowl. There never was a South Pole. We're surrounded by
Yeah. No curve on the sea, horizon stay flat. Zooming on Polaris, still right where it's at. ISS a cartoon, wires in the skies. Gravity's a myth, watch the helium rise. Sunlight on the ocean, path like a blade. Truth in the sky, but they sell you the shade. NASA got a budget, but no stars in frame. Devin Allen sets, playing in a space game. Moon landing lies, all bouncing, no dust. Van Allen belts, now they won't discuss. Fish eye the lens just to fake the spin, but the dome above got the silence within. They told me lies, but I see the sky. No spinning ball, just truth up high. The stars don't move, but we've been blind. Now I feel the shift, the veil unwind. The crown is still, the light is true. I see the cracks in the world they drew. They launch with sparks, but never go high. Always arc down, just painting the sky. No footage real, it's all pre-filmed plays. Studio edits in Hollywood haze. They fake the spin with a tilted cam, but truth don't budge like a mountain slam. They taught me stars were suns afar, but I see patterns, not random scars.
Hi and welcome. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties here, folks. Just bear with me. Can y'all hear me and see me just fine? I'm having all kinds of troubles here. See if I get a 5x5 here. Not sure what's going on. My Streamlabs is acting up. Just restarted. 5x5. Logical Observer says 5x5. Y'all can see me just fine. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on. You say I got vocals but no visuals. Let me see. I might have to restart this over, guys. Doesn't seem to want to cooperate. Hear you, JJ, can't see you. Alright, I'm going to put a song on real quick and just get my son to help me. See if he can't help me figure this out. Bear with me, folks.
Wheel turns slow, Polaris still. Each circle drawn with silent will. The math don't match, the model breaks, but they keep selling dreams, the silence shakes. They told me lies, but I see the sky. No spinning globe, just light on high. The stars don't stray, they hold their line. Now I hear the truth between the signs. The ground is still, the light is true. I see the cracks in the world they drew. They mock and laugh, but I still rise. No globe can twist what my soul denies. I walk alone, but the stars align. Each truth I find, I make it mine. Through silence, doubt, and shadows hiss. I plant my flag in truth like this. They built their towers on shifting sand, but I found stillness with open hand. They measure stars, but miss the glow. Truth speaks soft, not in a show. My eyes have seen what theirs deny, and I'll hold the light until I die. Until I die.
Fed as stars, but I found the light. No turning sphere, just endless night. The compass points, the waters know. The stillness speaks where truth won't show. The ground is firm, the sky is wide. I stand alone, but I don't hide.
Alright, folks, can you see me now? No? Yes? Can you see me? Question is, can you see me? Check 1, 2. Can you see me? 5x5. See ya. All right. I think we're good now. Thank you. All right. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. We got a noob at work here. I apologize and appreciate the patience. So let's start this out. Junior's getting it done. Absolutely. Yeah. Plain and simple knows what's up. He gets it. So let's start this over, folks. Hi, and welcome to Fort Johnson's, aka The Foundry. I'm your host, Justin motherfucking Johnson. I want to give a warm welcome and greetings to each and every one of you with a big shout out. Let's see if we can get this shit back in line here. I was having internet issues before, so I don't know. It seems one problem after another. Let's see here. An error occurred. What is going on? Hopefully y'all can still see me because it's telling me an error has occurred. It's something. Oh boy. Well, let me try to refresh this here. All right, there we go. This thing is acting funny, guys. We're going to start at the top here and give some shout outs. Looks like we got Roger Ledwell. Greetings, fam. I appreciate you being here. J.R. Hartley's in the house. We got Logical Observations. The next chapter. Big Pine Sailing is in the house. Jim Anus, the one and only Anus, is in the house. Valley Parks, much love. Appreciate you being here, sis. Much love. Hopefully you got your groceries in. I gave you some extra time there with the technical difficulties. Flat Bob has made it. Big salute, Flat Bob. We got, who else? We got Jeremy Birdman. Much love, fam. Appreciate you being here. Fort Jacks has made it as well. Greetings. Brian Roy. Appreciate you as always, fam. Sue Finelli has made it. Also got wrenched up here. Appreciate you being here, Sue. I know it's quite early for you guys across the pond. And I can't tell you my appreciation, for y'all being here and being consistent. Carrie Skates is in the house. Godheart Guardian is also with us. Saddle Bum. The usual suspects. D-Man has made it. Half Warrior. Bunch of damn legends. Plain and simple truth. Shout out. Let's see here. Baphomet Dad is also with us. Appreciate you being here, sis. Much love and greetings. Absolutely. Good to see every one of you guys and gals. Definitely couldn't do it without you, when we want to be talking to the wall here. But today's title is, at what point do people realize everything by the mainstream, pushed by the mainstream, is a lie? I think it's very relative with the time and era that we live in today. It's important to understand, and we're going to go over a little bit of that this afternoon. Hopefully everything is still good here. I'm going to give a little test sample here. Let's see if this is working properly.
Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about troubling, irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Show that people check their phone.
Extremely dangerous to our democracy. So yeah, 16 Alpha is also with us. CYGX1 is in the house. Mark Rizzo's made it. Much love. Appreciate you guys coming on in this evening. And I hope you all are doing well. You and yours. So, yeah, dangers to our democracy. That's what we're going to start with. You know, we know a democracy is a bunch of bullshit as well. Another narrative that's pushed constantly. What democracy exactly? We're supposed to live in a republic, but they constantly push democracy. But either way, we're listening to the talking heads here. So that's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. I did happen to write a little list here. Yeah, I don't know if y'all can see that. It's pretty bad. I want to apologize for the green screen and the glow-in-the-dark beard as well. I got to do some fine-tuning on that chroma key. You know, it can get you. Yeah, chroma key is... It's tough work, man, you know. You can't even go to Antarctica without it being a problem. But with that being said, you know, with the news itself, you know, it's a good example of how this is where we're going to start with where they lie and how they lie and what they use and what tools they're using to push the narrative. Obviously, the mainstream narrative and the news networks are a big part of that. And Serious Business is in the house. Much love, Serious Business. Everybody give a warm welcome. Greetings, salutations. Looks like Smart, maybe? Lock Smart? Yeah, Lock Smart's also with us. Shout out Lock Smart. Everybody give a warm greeting to Lock Smart. But, you know, that's the first slide that we're going to address here is the independence of the news networks to begin with. It, you know, paints a pretty picture for you when you understand what we're dealing with. And if you can understand that the news networks are, you know, pushed on us as if they're independent and they all, you know, speak for themselves when that's clearly not the case. This compilation is a prime example of how they read off a script and regurgitate exactly that, a script. So, sounds good still. I appreciate you, Keith. Much love. Keith is my nephew, guys, in case you weren't aware. So much love to Keith for helping out here and making sure that everything's going right. But it's pretty obvious, like I was saying, that the news is obviously all a part of, I'd have to say, the triangle, the pyramid that the secret societies run and control. So that's one thing that we need to keep to the forefront and understand, because when they push their narratives, like they will tomorrow or next week or next month, there will be new ones, and it never ends with the psyops and false flags. So, yeah, we want to definitely be, you know, enlightened and aware of just that, you know. So the news itself, where we're even getting the information, is a lie to begin with. So I'm just going to run through a couple of these here. This is just off the top of my head. You know, I didn't look any of this up, but these are instances and, you know, altering moments in time where, you know, they push certain narratives, you know, like the Boston bombing, for instance. And if anybody disagrees with any one of these things on the list, feel free to, you know, speak your mind, and we can go through it, because there's evidence to support that not one single thing on this list is is not backed up with evidence. So we all know the Boston bombing. Some of you might not, but I'm pretty sure 90% of y'all have watched things here on my channel as well. We went through a couple hours of the Boston bombing with the Dave Weiss inauguration into his masonry or whatever at the end there. But I don't know what that was all about, but that's another topic in itself. But the Boston bombings clearly used squib packs and fireworks, the same same playbooks, fear factor, fear mongering. So I'm sure you guys get it. So that's the Boston bombing. You got the Oklahoma bombing. You have the Pulse nightclub shooting, the Vegas shootings, the Final Experiment, 24-hour Southern Sun just recently. These are all just things that they've been caught lying about, by the way. The Charlie Kirk instance, the whole death of Charlie Kirk is one big old bullshit story. The Trump getting shot in the ear story, Uvalde Elementary, Sandy Hook, the Holocaust, to nukes, Pearl Harbor, Hiroshima, all these places that got nuked and have no fallout, long-term fallout. The dinosaurs is a good one. Yeah, trust me, bro. Dinosaurs are real. Moon landings and the globe, space, all the nonsensical bullshit and reverse engineering our plane of existence here. You have elections, the illusion of choice. And, we're supposed to believe that Mr. Joe Biden got 80 million votes back in 2020. Anybody who, we're going to give a shout out to Schneider. Schneider's made it. Shout out. Lord Racer's also made it. Shout out. Don't want to miss any of you before I get rambling too far. Warm welcome, and I appreciate you guys being here. But Joe Biden getting the 80 million votes. Anybody who believes that is, to say the least, the most popular guy in history just so happens to get more votes than Donald Trump, even though he got more votes than any sitting president in history. In the same election, somebody else gets the most votes ever, which is just, hello, wake up time. Continuing on here, everyone knows that election shit's bullshit. They got the vaccines, the inoculations, all nothing but probably population control and pushing narratives. Once again, fear mongering. It's all tied. It's all multifaceted. The whole germ and virus theory. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but the germs and viruses have patents on them. So just tells you that they're man-made. None of this stuff is authentic or organic or created by God himself. I don't think God is going to be putting us in a place of complete chaos and fear. That's what the devil does. So let's see here. We got the history itself is all lies. We can't trust the timeline. We know for a fact that they've lied about his story, which is only written by victors anyway. So it's pretty logical to conclude that history isn't always going to be a fact. It's on the victors and the way they write it, and you don't have any choice but to believe what they tell you. The technology advancements, if they reset us and, the future is the past, they've hidden a lot of this technology from us and trickle it out and act like we're advancing very quickly today when all this shit's old technology, in my opinion. I think there's plenty of evidence to support it as well. Let's go to the next. We got geoengineering. The ability to control and manipulate weather. He who controls the weather controls the world. Anybody that doesn't think that they're capable of controlling the weather, and I mean to a high degree, they can do whatever they want with the weather. They can cause hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes, you name it. And it's pretty hard to pinpoint who the enemy is when you got wiped out by a tornado. So that's a very dangerous weapon, and I believe that's why he who controls the weather controls the world, because you're not even going to be able to pinpoint the enemy. It's always going to be a hidden enemy that can't even be called out realistically. And it's a very it's a very big problem, to say the least. 9/11, everybody knows about 9/11 and how that was an inside job, and buildings pretty much miraculously pyrotechnic themselves down just from getting hit by airplanes, and hijacker identifications being found after, it's hot enough to melt steel, but it won't melt that plastic ID of the hijacker. It's just a joke, it's kind of goes without saying, but I'm just going to go over all these regardless, just to emphasize the severity of, the totality of what we're actually dealing with, and how it's preposterous for them to have any credibility. It blows my mind that even myself will question, well, was that real? Was that not? They cried wolf too many damn times, and we can't ever trust what this source ever says again. Even if we're wrong, you have to stand your ground on that, because they're not creditable whatsoever. The jet fuel hoax. I know some people don't really believe that that's a hoax, but yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that they're not fitting the amount of fuel that they claim into these jets, and that's what turbines are for. They call them airplanes. They ride on air, and they have turbines that create energy from sucking the air in and condensing it and releasing it out the back. And we know it's not jet fuel, because we've seen in other countries where people stand at the fence and let the jet take off in front of them and push them back into the sand. And if that was actual jet fuel, it would probably do some harm. But to me, that just indicates that it's some type of compressed air or something. But that's just an assumption there, because I'm not there. But whatever. We can have logical discord, analysis, without ever having to step foot on the moon or be in Antarctica, people. That whole fallacy of you're not capable of knowing unless you were there is pretty ridiculous, because we didn't go to the moon, and I never went there. So there you have that. Just a lot of these people that were assassinated, from JFK to MLK to Malcolm X or George Floyd. These are all provable psyops. And, like I said, if some of you don't believe it, then just do the research and the due diligence. And there is information out there that is accessible. And, I could probably do a stream on each one of these topics, to be honest, because there is that much information out there that they like to censor, and it's not going to come up in your algorithm. I can tell you that. Let's see what we got here. I don't see anybody that I missed in there. The Trans Tifa. Yep, Trans Tifa is on here. Antifa, the Black Lives Matter. These are foot soldiers, fake movements. There's nothing organic about Antifa. They claim to be anti-fascist, and they're the most fascist people I've ever seen. And it's, once again, not organic. They're paid foot soldiers, just like everything else we deal with the infiltration. That's all they are. They're there to paint a picture, and propaganda 101, folks. And it's very easy to see once you see it. Like I said, the source alone should open your eyes, because I don't understand how we can go back to listening to the news. I know a lot of us don't listen to the news, but they have alternative ways to pushing their news on us. Even if you're not watching Fox News, you're going to hear it through the internet, or wherever you're at. You're going to be told about what's going on with the current events. So even if you unsubscribe from the news, you're still going to be listening and watching everybody else comply with what the news is telling them. Very problematic. So yeah, Antifa, Black Lives Matter. Also Black Lives Matter. Most of these people, like the black people, don't even like Black Lives Matter. They don't stand behind it. I think it's also a false movement. We all know all lives matter. So just in the words alone is pretty divisive and a tactic, to say the least. Trump's magic ear is also on this list. Absolutely. And not only that, the Illuminati card game that we showed from the late 80s, early 90s has the Trump card with the bullet whizzing by his ear. We've got The Simpsons predicting 9/11 and all kinds of other shit, making they like to show us the truth in the cartoons and the movies, and you know we're pretty much living in a Truman Show, as far as I could tell. It seems pretty legit. You know, we live in a place where we're not allowed to explore the perimeters, and we're told that this is it, and there's nothing new to explore. But we all know that's a crock of shit, and they like to gatekeep by having treaties that all the countries agree upon to protect the penguins and, you know, that ancient ice that nobody could survive. They really need to protect that for our best interest. And they've never agreed on anything ever, to that totality, ever. All these countries agree to protect Antarctica and the North, by the way. We talk an awful lot about the South, but uh, in my opinion, there's probably more answers in the North than there is the South, or equally. But, you know, they sure don't want to talk about the North very often. They don't, you know, they want to steer you. They always point left when they want to distract you. And you should learn by now to run right when they point left. So down the list we go. Just the wars in general, you know, all these wars are crocks of shit. You know, I'm not saying people don't die. I'm not saying that your ancestors or family members aren't enlisted in these military. Uh, you know, actually, these people aren't what you think they are. The United States is no different than any other country. I know patriotism is a big thing, and I was a patriot more than most, and I understand it more than most. But the reality is we got, and we're literally sending our children. Lev Kung Fu Shaolin is in the house. Much love, Lev. We appreciate you, fam. You know, so a lot of us send our children off to die in these wars and fight for the enemy, to be honest with you. I don't think our government is any better than any other government. It's all an illusion, and they all work for the same team. So I hope that the majority, if not all of us, are on that page and understanding, because it's important to not get obfuscated and diverted from reality, because everything that we experience has been scripted. It's an illusion of reality. And the only way we're going to fix it is to stop complying and be aware of that fact in itself. Which I do think is coming. You know, that's the only answer, because they control the masses and who gets to hear what. So, you know, sticking with the war topic, you know, look at like Ukraine, for instance. Ukraine is like a spit in the wind, like that's nothing. It's Ukraine. They're fighting a world superpower of Russia. Okay, and you're telling me what has it been? 3 years? 3 years of them fighting a war? Don't you think Russia could have went in there and just manhandled them and took them out, and, you know, overnight, if not a couple days? You got to ask yourself these things. It's very important, because these wars are bullshit. You know, they've already been caught showing video game graphics as real on the field experiences, and they get caught showing older footage that aren't even the footage from there. They show all these bodies in body bags, and then next thing you know, the body bag's moving. You know, it's just, it goes on and on and on, folks. These are the same people that have zero credibility. And I can't emphasize enough how important credibility is. And it's a shame that I have to go here, because you think that'd be pretty much common sense, but it is a dying art to be able to discern somebody's credibility, apparently. And I'm just as guilty, so I'm not trying to harp on nobody. We've all been there. We're all on our own journey and get to different points of an understanding at different times. So I have sympathy and patience when it comes to understanding where people's mindset is and where they're not. But that's why this topic here tonight is about just that, and trying to get to an understanding, you know, some type of common ground where we're not just spending weeks and weeks every time they do a psyop, just talking about whether or not and what the logistics of it and how this could have happened, that could have happened. And it's just very distracting. Meanwhile, they're probably most likely doing something huge behind your back, because they do like to clog the news with nonsense, you know, and they'll just regurgitate the piss out of it Meanwhile, you know, they're signing bills and shit at 3 in the morning. Who knows? But it's a very common occurrence for things to be happening behind the curtain. Rigged sports, absolutely. You know, I used to love sports, Lock Smart. I mean, every week, I loved it. I loved football. I loved baseball. I love, you know, just the competitiveness. And, you know, I haven't watched professional sports or the NFL since they changed the Redskins name. You know, I think that was 2020 or something. But, you know, just the whole political correctness shit and acting like everything's racist, and it's all about division, you know. And when they really showed their true colors, Rain Doesn't Fall is in the house. Good Foundry folk. I haven't seen you before, Rain Doesn't Fall. You're more than welcome here, and we greet you with open arms. This is a troll-free zone, so if you're that, then you're not going to make it too long. But, you know, it's all good. Like I said, welcome you here, and hopefully that's not the case. Looks like you might know Baphomet, that mushy. I don't know what that means. Good Foundry folk. Touchdown. Yeah. The whole football shit, you know, I think um Jake the asshole did a pretty good job of exposing the NFL. You know, he does a breakdown pretty good and just shows how they on purpose drop plays, and it's just another distraction, you know. We're over here being very simplistic, you know. Most men, if you give them a beer, feed me, fuck me, and shut the fuck up, then they're good, you know. Give me a beer and a football game, and everything's fine, you know. Nothing's happening out there, and I do believe that that's a big part of just the distractions, you know. We become very complacent and simplistic with what we expect and what we demand, you know, because I don't think that their narratives will go very well once the people stop being so sheep-like and compliant, because that's what we're trained to do is yes, a massa. And, you know, the minute you go against the grain, bad things happen. And they can be real bad. We've seen lots of suicided instances where, you know, death tolls, or, you know, the body counts, and anybody who claimed to have been a victim of I don't know, Epstein or anybody, they all end up dead, you know, and they all claim they're not suicidal preemptively, like Cap. And just, you know, I'm pretty much speaking to a choir, but I like to just get it out there because it's very important for everyone to see it, you know, because some of us aren't all the way caught up, you know. I think that this is a very brilliant community, and the majority of us are wide awake. But we just need to be ready, you know. And part of being ready is being trained and doing your due diligence to where we're not, when they do come up with the next event or the next false flag, it's not going to be out of left field. We're going to be waiting for it, and we're going to know what to do with it, instead of spending 2-3 weeks arguing with each other and thinking that we're all inhumane and, you know, how dare you, she's a widow, and it's just all about distraction. And Kevin Holtum is in the house. Much love, Kevin Holtum. Everybody give a greetings, warm welcome to Kevin. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and wrench up. Now these wrenches I give to everybody, you know, just so it's easy to spot. But the minute that I feel that you're not worthy, or you're not what you're portraying, they'll be taken faster than you got them. So I'm not threatening anybody. This is how we roll here. We keep a very clean house, and we love it. There ain't nothing like a clean house, baby. You hear that? Listen, listen. I don't hear no ball talk, no gravity talk. I don't hear no nothing. I don't hear Brenda. I don't hear Monkey Pat. I don't hear McToon. I don't hear Weiss. I don't hear Mark Sargent. I don't hear none of these trolls, these shills, right? We keep it clean, baby. And that's what's going to make this place most enjoyable. You know, this is a place where Grown people come to spend their spare time. This is your free time, folks. You can do whatever you want with this time. You know, you spend all day working, and this is where you choose to be with your free available time, and that humbles me greatly. And I do the same, you know, and it speaks volume that we're here collectively, and that's why it's important to keep a clean house, because, you know, I don't want this to be a place where it's not pleasant or a joy, absolute joy to be. You know, this is a great community, and we want to keep it that way. And we've spent 5, 10 years already dragging shit through the house and allowing it and entertaining all these debates and whatnots. And that's fine. You know, there's a place and a time for everything. But at this point in the juncture, there's nothing to debate. It's 2025, pushing 2026, and you still haven't proved the damn curve. You haven't proved any motion of the earth. So at what point are we going to conclude that there is no debate to be had? You guys had your opportunities for generations, okay? The reason we are flat earthers is because the lack of evidence that supports your positive claims. So that's pretty apparent. And I'm sure y'all could agree on that. So, you know, we do welcome people who believe in a globe, or people that believe in the rising earth, or whatever you want to believe. You know, we've all been in a place in our lives where we didn't understand that we live on a topographical, immovable plane. And I will have patience for some people. But one thing that we're not going to do is be lectured by somebody who probably knows their model less than we know their model, because you don't get here without due diligence. Shout out to RG the artist. Much love, RG. Truth connects us. I appreciate you being here, fam. Warm welcomes, greetings, and salutations. Big salute, brother. My YouTube was down. Roger's YouTube was down. Right, JJ and Bruce. Yeah, Bruce is awesome, guys. If you guys don't watch Bruce McGuire, you know, I've recommended him before. He's good. And if you like unsolved mysteries and shit like that, he does a lot of that work as well. But I do enjoy his logical analysis and ability to break things down non-biasedly. He won't claim to be a flat earther, but there's no way he's not with the information that he knows. He's way too smart not to be. But I see where he's coming from. You know, he tries to keep a non-bias, no ego, no attachments, because the truth doesn't have attachments. It doesn't. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your friends. So that's what we're after ultimately here. We're a community of truth, and that's what we thrive for, and that's what we're going to obtain at the end of the day by our own due diligence and discernments, because we're not going to hand dismiss our abilities like they expect you to. We'll go down the list a little more here. We got January 6th with Ashley Babbitt. The insurrection, folks. I'm sure you guys are aware of January 6th. I believe that was the 2020 January 6th when, people were trying to protest whether Joe Biden was the most popular man in the world. Boy, oh boy. But I don't know if a lot of you know this, because there might be a thing or two on this list that you guys might not have seen the information backing that it's all a hoax, you know, that it's another psyop. Like I said, if there's any particular event that has occurred that, you know, a lot of you haven't seen, then just bring it up to me, because we could do a stream on it. You know, like I said, each one of these can literally be a stream. That's how much time and lies that we're dealing with here. It's a very complex story time, lies, and manipulations. There you go. So the January 6th and Ashley Babbitt. I don't know if you guys know this, but she wasn't killed. She's another Charlie Kirk. She's an actor. And I do have videos on that I do have put back. We may or may not watch that here in a little bit. But it's the same shit, you know, like think about Charlie Kirk and what happened and how they reacted when it happened. It's the same shit. And they point out very good that it's all just staged. Everything is scripted, folks. And it's not just my opinion. Just you got to go do the due diligence. Don't trust the source that is not worthy, that has zero credibility. So that's the biggest problem is we're like forced to listen to whatever they push. And that's very problematic and why a lot of us fall to the wayside with understanding instantly. Because like I said, if we're well prepared and well educated, then we're going to be trained to see it a mile away. And when they pull this shit tomorrow, good luck, you know. And I want this to be something that we could work on, you know. It's not nothing you have to do personally. Vlad is in the house. Much love, team. What's good? Appreciate you being here, Vlad. We'll give a shout out to the Hours app that he's working on. I don't think I have a link to any donations, but I'm sure you can go on his stream the other night and find the PayPal if anybody's interested in it, in helping out and donating. I personally have dropped $100. Vlad dropped $100. I'm not sure who else has, but you know, we'll crawl. We'll get there one way or another, and I think it's pretty cool that he's got the idea to do this, and you know, who knows where it'll go and how much it's going to help. So the Ashley Babbitt shit was bullshit. More squib bags in Hollywood. We're dealing with Hollywood, folks. That's who do you think made Hollywood? Who invented Hollywood? The same people that invented news. The same people that make up these wars and lie to you about everything including the shape of the earth. There's nothing too big or too small to lie about. Yeah, Vlad, drop the link if you can. I'd appreciate it, Vlad. Yeah, so let's see here down the list. Obviously, that whole Epstein bullshit with him killing himself in the jail cell and the lack of justice. You know, he gets slapped on the wrist when found guilty way prior to him even going to jail. He gets some house arrest or something. You know, these are rules for thee, but not for me kind of situation. We're supposed to believe everything they tell us, like Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison. How can you verify that Ghislaine Maxwell's even in prison at all? And even if there is a person in prison that got sentenced for her crimes, how do you know they just didn't put somebody else in there and say, yep, that's Ghislaine? Because they're very good. They have body doubles and they play multiple characters. They are actors. They are Hollywood at its finest. We're watching all the time. All the time. These people have multiple people that play these characters. You go look at Charlie Kirk, go look back, and there's multiple people. Over time, if you go accumulate 3 years ago, 6 years ago, and then go compare them to the pictures today, they're different people. Same with Joe Biden. That's not Joe Biden, okay? And you know, I don't subscribe to all of like fittest flat earther stuff, but he sure gets you to think about stuff. And I do agree with some of them, you know, just some of these people that allegedly die, but then they go play this other character, and it's just a mess, guys. And you only got to catch them once. You don't have to catch them over and over and over and over to lose credibility and understand who the enemy is and who they're working for. So I just want to and hope and pray that we can all accumulate an ideology that we can come to common ground with and understand the enemy better than we do now is basically my objective. But yeah, there's so many lies with Epstein. We can do a whole episode on it, by the way, but we're not gonna. Who else? Let's see. Vlad in the house. Hollywood is a load of crap. Absolutely. That's all they do, guys, is paint scripts. You know, they make movies, and they've turned our reality into a movie. That's why I relate to the Truman Show itself, because it seems very likely, and there's just too many coincidences, and I don't believe in coincidences. So here we are. Next on the list is constitutional rights. You know, the Constitution or your rights. We all think that we have these inalienable rights and can't be infringed upon, and we got the right to say whatever we want. We got the right to bear arms for some countries, by the way, not all. But don't feel bad, other countries that don't have it, because ultimately it's just an illusion, okay? our guns aren't going to do shit because we have little pea shooters and they got tanks and missiles and direct energy weapons and blah, 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 blah. So the illusion of having a gun for defense is actually pretty lame because the wars that are going to be fought aren't going to be boots on the ground with bullets flying through the air. You can destroy complete civilizations through weather manipulations, psychological warfare, fourth to fifth dimension warfare, cyber war, digital war. You guys know what I mean. It's not something that we're going to be able to defeat with violence or any type of power by strength kind of thing. I know we outnumber them, but we are so far behind the ball due to generational dumbing down, and the power that they possess is like no other. It's much greater than we can imagine. We think that these guys are ignorant and sloppy and not very smart, but on the contrary, I think these people are way smarter than it appears. You don't control humanity for as long as they have without being highly intelligent, and they're very good at what they do. And I think that a lot of the sloppiness is by design. I've had a theory for a long time. I've expressed it a few times about how they try to justify that they did no wrong. Why do they always leave the truth in your face? Let's talk about any one of these things on the paper, and you're going to find truth somewhere on the internet or out in the real world. You can find proof of what I'm saying. And the fact that that proof exists shows you that they really didn't hide it from you. So they're going to play that, justify that they didn't do any wrong because that's your ignorance to fall for it when the truth was always available. It was your laziness that got you where you are today. So I think that that's a big part of it. I'm not 100% sure, but it sure seems like it. They got to answer to the Almighty when this is over, and I don't think it's going to work too well for them. But they're going to try to justify that they didn't do any wrong. I mean, they think they're just fine. But on to the next on the list. The rights. We think that we have these rights to say what we want. We've already been shown that you can be censored, you could be shadow banned. There's a lot of things they don't want to really pull that plug or pull that card because it really exposes themselves. But they'll play it in a nonchalant kind of way. They'll definitely censor. I'm sure all of us have been censored to some degree at some point. So you're ultimately not allowed to say what you want, which I don't give a shit. I'm going to say what I want. I'll die on my feet rather than live on my knees, kind of mentality. So I don't play scared, and whatever happens with that. But that's my truth, and I'm gonna stick with it. Let's say you guys think you have rights, and you have the right to what? What do you have the right to do? You got the right to breathe. You got the right to what? And guess what? That can always be taken from you by force. Okay, someone can make you stop breathing. Okay, so what good is your right if somebody can just take it from you? Rights are an illusion as well. And I hate to be the Debbie Downer, and it sounds pretty negative, but it's far from that, guys. This is just the truth. I just want the truth. I'm a straight shooter, and I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. This is a war, a spiritual battle, and we're not going to win it being complacent or ignorant. And it's very important to understand that. So, any right that you think you have, just think about it. It's an illusion because they will. Let me ask you this. Let's say we have the Second Amendment here in the United States, and these politicians all have a sworn oath to uphold, protect the people and its Constitution, and they're bringing up legislation to try to ban X, Y, or Z or bump stocks or this or that. Now, how can you not infringe upon your constitutional rights and bring up legislation that directly infringes upon your constitutional rights? You see what I'm getting at? You can't do that because that is a direct violation of your sworn oath, and it's punishable by death. This is treason. It's not a game. And they get away with it all the time, and they'll sweep it under the rug. And we think it's normal to bring up legislation about taking your guns or infringing upon your Second Amendment. It's just another prime example of they can make into Debbie if they have the tech, you got it, Roger. You guys know exactly what I'm saying. I know I'm not coming out of left field, and you guys can understand, even if you don't agree with me, and I'm sure some of you don't, but it's important to think about because you need to question everything in today's world, and I mean everything. You know, trust no one, question everything. And as long as you do that and apply that to every day and practice it, you're gonna end up in a lot better place and not be surprised or tricked or baited into anything. You know, they can't gaslight you anymore. They can't, there's a lot of things they won't be able to do once you have the information that they don't want you to understand. So that was my rant on rights. Anybody got any objections with the rights? Do y'all think you have rights? And which right would that be? And how can it not be taken from you if they want to? So there's no such thing as a birthright. We think we have birthrights, and I stand firmly that we do have birthrights. But if they can take them from you, then that's not going to do any justice. You know, we need to get back to a grassroots, simplistic manner to where we need to go back because this shit has been stripped from us. You know, and the only thing left is the illusion of it. Good afternoon, Roger. What I like is when folks say the government can do that. Always makes me laugh. Hey, yeah, you got that right. So down the list, here we go, you know. And I've been talking for 30 minutes, and this is all just off the top of my head, folks. I'm not looking this shit up. This is just basic shit that I've lived through and you have lived through. Okay? Imagine if I went on the internet and made this a book. I mean, it's ridiculous how bad, how often these cocksuckers have lied to you from the day you were born. They lied to your parents, and they're passing it down and dumbing us down, and it's very obvious. So one more quarter's in the house. Much love, warm greetings. Everybody give a warm shout out to one more quarter. Yeah, so down the list we go. Free energy. All right, that's a big one because they got us here paying electric bills every month. I don't know what you guys pay. I'm paying $300-400 a month in electric. When if we lived in an electromagnetic field where everything's electric by nature and there is an ether and they were able to harness it and distribute it, well, guess what that means, folks? Free energy. You don't need to pay for all this bullshit that they claim. However they claim that they obtained it, harnessed the energy, is all just a ruse. You know, they like to play you along like a marionette. You know, you're just a puppet. And we'll believe whatever the hell they tell us. It's preposterous. List of Lozo. Yeah, it's a big list, you know. And that took me about 5 minutes. 5 minutes just to write down off the top of my head what, you know, some of the things that I've seen problematic in the past. But yeah, the whole free energy is wild because it ties to understanding that you live in an electromagnetic, you know, a realm where everything is energy, and what comes with that, the implications behind that is much greater than just free energy bills. You know, you have, you know, everything is frequency, and they're not letting us understand it in the totality that is important because, you know, you could heal yourself. You can kill yourself with energy. Energy is extremely powerful. You could probably levitate. There's so many possibilities with frequencies. You know, I don't have any evidence to support that, but I'm a firm believer. Down the list we go, fossil fuels. So yeah, they're telling us that our petroleum coming from fossils, and oh, it's scarce, baby. We only got like 274 million gallons left in our reserves, and we're gonna have to have a shutdown and pay $80 a gallon and start buying oil from I don't know, Ukraine or Russia or something. You know, give me a damn break, right? Literally, petroleum is the second largest liquid on Earth. Let me repeat that. Second most abundant liquid on Earth. It's renewable. But they want to play that scarcity card. That's a very important thing to also stay awake and vigilant to, is the scare tactics, the fear mongering, the scarcity, right? Just another thing on the list. Climate change. How many years have they been pushing climate change? Talk about fear mongering and, we're a bunch of parasites and we're going to destroy this world and we need to move to Mars, folks, because, we're just a bunch of parasites and we're no good for Earth. But we can go to a new planet and we'll be better there, we get a second chance. See the preposterity? It's insane. Oil is aboitic? I haven't heard that word before. I know damn sure they don't come from fossils or, dinosaurs. Fossils is kind of vague because I'm sure like plants fossilize. I don't know, man. I'm tired of ascertaining their truth and their explanations because they have word sorcery and redefine words so level can curve around a ball. All this nonsensical hogwash, to say the least. And it's very problematic. It's not just like a fib that's going to, not have any implications behind it. These lies dictate and infiltrate your perception, the way you think, and is very dangerous. That's how we're gonna use that thing from here on out, and what you know and what you retain is gonna be how you're gonna use this tomorrow. How do you perceive things? Because they've infiltrated our perception and weaponized the propaganda to do so. So once again, it's just very basic, guys. This isn't. It seems complex, but once you see the patterns and who we're dealing with, and stick to your guns and discernment, it's not hard to see this shit. It's actually pretty elementary. It's a no-brainer. It seems to me that options and possibilities may cause too much freedom that world hurt the evil merchant overlords. Yeah, that's about right. No dino feel. So let's see, climate change, and then we got the chemtrails. How long did they lie to us and tell us that's not a real thing? That's just this is wrong. You guys are a bunch of anti-truthers and dangerous to democracy, right? They tell you that they're cloud seeding and condensation trails for farmers, right? But no one's ever voted this shit in. Even if the voting was real, I've never seen it where you can go vote for, hey, yeah, go ahead and dump all kinds of chemicals on humanity. Where was that vote? Did I sleep through that one? Who elects these people that run the world? Who elects the United Nations? Who elects the World Health Organization? Who elects the CDC and all these other three-letter agencies? I sure didn't. I've never even seen a route where you could elect these people. So they're obviously selected, not elected. And, even the ones that appear to be that you have a choice to go select who your electees are, it's all a lie, Trust me, man, Joe Biden didn't get 80 million votes. So that speaks volume, folks. Chemtrails are an existential threat, regardless of what we know and don't know. Think about the implications behind dumping trillions of whatever they want on you and not having permission or any type of, they just do it without even asking or talking, or it's been going on for many, many decades. This ain't nothing new. But, as far as I know, there's lots of bad shit in there that's killing everything, not only causing all kinds of Alzheimer's and is linked to bronchitis. All kinds of ailments are linked to these chemicals that we're breathing in all the time, right? According to my research, I found that they've had barium, strontium, aluminum, all kinds of heavy metals, and that's obviously not good for anything, any type of life, whether it be trees, bees, or humans. Your children, everybody's got to breathe this shit. And, they've been caught poisoning foods and water and contaminations, and it just goes on and on and on. Everything that you need to stay healthy is regulated by the people that we are discussing right now, the enemy. They regulate everything, including, probably the weed you smoke to whatever. You know, the cigarettes you smoke, it don't matter what it is, and you think you might be able to get around it and like, oh, I grow my own food or whatever the case may be. Well, don't think that's not hindered with what's in the air, right? I mean, it's got to breathe too. It needs oxygen. And if that oxygen is contaminated with heavy metals, well, then your food's poison. You can't just put a little bit of poison in a glass of water and the whole glass of water is not bad. A little bit of poison, it's all bad, right? And they don't want you dead, folks. I'm not saying that they want to poison you and kill us because we're no good dead. They want Big Pharma to be the richest industry in the existence of humanity. And they've done a great job. These pilots are doing it to their own families too, evil bastards. Well, who knows, Jay? Like, I don't know if these people even, from what I've been told, a lot of these chemtrail pilots, they're not allowed to live in a certain area for so long, so they don't have friends that they meet and, you know, get the possibility of being whistleblowers or whatever. They move them over and over all around so they don't get too friendly with people. But who knows? You know, I don't think that these people really live among us when it comes to the powers that be. They might be underground. They might be this. They might be that. I don't know. But I highly don't think that they're going to be breathing the shit that we're breathing. And if they are, they probably have, you know, medications or something to where they're not affected like we are, I would imagine. I don't know. That's probably something I could do some more research on, but you know, how do you find the answers to that? You know, I mean, I don't walk around outside and run into these people. You know, we're supposed to think that they're out there walking around, but I don't think so. Apparently, it's illegal to even give your friends, neighbors, your home-owned veggies. Yeah, that's pretty telling, isn't it? Like, what would be the problem with that, right? You're not allowed to capture your own water. Not allowed to, a lot of places, they don't allow you to grow your own shit or use the barter system or trade any type of food. You know, they want to tax it. And, you know, that's another lie, taxes. It's not on this list. They claim taxes started after World War II, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's never gone away since then. You know, it's unconstitutional to be taxed in that manner. And all their laws and regulations, there's no victim 90% of the time. Those are just codes and regulations. They're not, you know, they're not like part of the 10 Commandments. That's all we need, folks. We don't need government. See, hey guys, if you are in a pathway or general area of the monarch migration, please go buy some organic milkweed seeds to feed them. Like in Hawaii. The true few is in the house. Shout out everybody to the true few. Greetings, warm welcome. Much love. We're going to move on down the list here. See, we did chemtrails. So population, you know, they tell us that we're overpopulated, all this shit. They want to tell you all kinds of stories and the numbers that they tell you in the first place, you know, how many people are in the world? Oh, 8.9 billion, whatever the number is. Go verify that, please. How are you going to verify that? Second of all, this is a non-creditable lying entity. Justina has made it. Much love, Justina. Everybody give a warm welcome, greetings to Justina. Shout out. And much love. So once again, the credibility with these people are absolutely beyond repairable. But yet we're gonna play along with how many people they told us are in the world, how many people, anything that they tell you can no longer be creditable, in my opinion. You know, whether it's true or false, they don't have a leg to stand on. Is that your sister? No, that's not my sister. Justina. No, but Justina's awesome. We love Justina. She also won one of those books from the True Earth Whisperer. Congratulations on that. Hopefully y'all are reading those books and will give me some feedback in due time. That'd be much appreciated because I'd like to... Someday, one of these days, I think I'm going to have Sonny on here and we're going to have an interview with him as well. He offered it up and he's more than willing to, and I think that's awesome. I think it's cool that we can all, we got people like that. We got people making full music albums. We got people writing books and people making apps. So we have potential, and these dumb flat earthers sure are stirring up the dirt. Yeah. So the whole population shit and their numbers, they already admit that they lie about the population so they could look more fearful in the eyes of other countries and blah blah blah, like they're independent or something. But lies on top of lies. The money is all a lie. The Federal Reserve's a lie. It's not federal. It's not reserved. We all know it's a private entity owned by the Rothschilds, the central banks. So there you have it with your promissory notes. You're supposed to have shit to back this, and ultimately we're not supposed to have any type of currency that isn't silver or gold or some type of backing. But they manipulate the system because they run the system. They are the courts. They are everything that has control, and they trick everything and everybody into thinking that what they're doing is for us in our best interest. But ultimately, money is just paper, and they print it out of thin air. I mean, there's not a single country in the world that isn't massively in debt to the central banks. And at the end of the day, they sell their people. I think that, the United States is owned. The people of the United States are owned because of lack of being able to pay their debts or whatnot. That's just my opinion. Who knows? Preach it, baby. I'm preaching Baphomet. Preaching along here. Absolutely. We got, it's all just a crock of shit. The IOU piece of paper, basically, that they could just print out of thin air, give it all away. How can we be $100 million, $100 trillion in debt and just, oh yeah, we're going to go to foreign aid and give all these other countries all this money for transgender studies and, koi fish in China. Give me a freaking break. I'm over it, guys. I've seen too much. So next on the list, I don't know, the old Titanic. I don't know if you guys knew about the Titanic, and there was a couple Rothschilds that died on the Titanic, by the way. Trust me. They died, man. Poor guys. Every single major event, catastrophe in history has been staged to some degree. I'm not saying people don't die, but guess what? Guess who gets rich every time they have to evacuate Florida for the newest hurricane coming up the coast? They sell every drop of oil, every battery, every generator, every piece of plywood. Guess what? All taxed. Who in their right mind should be able to legally get rich off a crisis? Right? And then they want you guys to donate for the cause. A lot of people lost their homes, and newsflash, they created the storms, folks. I hate to say it that way, but time to wake up. Flat stuff Earth is in the house. Greetings, warm welcome. Fittest flat earther who mainly talks about clones won't share subs with us. Yeah, I hear you. There are those types out there. To each his own. I don't really know, but I don't blame some people. People call Eric Dubé out for not, being a part of this community. Can you really blame the guy? Look at all the shills and shit talkers, and Eric Dubé is doing a great job. He's done a great job for many, many, many years. And how could we, the backseat drivers, sit here and have any audacity to talk shit about Eric Dubé, right? Like, I don't know. I think to each his own. I think he's a genius, and I wouldn't want to deal with, if I was him, I wouldn't go to these flat earth meetups or any of this nonsense. I mean, you got to be out your damn mind. Why would you're guilty by association when you start being around certain people. And I want everybody to hear that, because there are a lot of people in this flat earth community that are guilty by association with people that are not to be considered honest. I don't even want to use the word trust, because I don't trust nobody. But it's worse than that, I mean, these people have shown us firsthand why not to be associated with them. Sub sharing, yeah. Yeah, you know, some of us are better at that than others. You know, I thought Vlad did a really good job of, you know, I think that I would be crawling a lot more without Vlad. I really appreciate it. And shout out to Vlad for giving me a little bit of incentive, you know, that little push that I needed to start my own channel. And I think it'll get better over time. You know, it takes a lot of courage and time. You know, I really didn't want it to be like a job to have to stream, or I don't want to overdo it, you know, to where I feel like, oh, well, man, maybe I should start getting paid for this, because that's the last thing I want. And I do not, I refuse to make this about money or monetization. So I think that's a flag that we need to pay attention to as well. Most people that ask for money aren't very good people. Not all of them, just some of them. And the fact that you can't trust anybody, you know, you need to be careful with who you contribute to. So down the list we go. Ties to sided. So yeah, just all these people that, you know, the stories they've told us about, you know, them killing themselves or whatever. Independence of our countries in a totality. I really don't think America is independent, or any country for that matter. I'm sure you all agree on that. Some of you might not, you know. You're doing awesome, JJ. I appreciate that, Mark Rizzo. I appreciate it. How about the see-through beard? Pretty cool. I got some work to do, man. I'm a noob here, but hey, it looks cool. You know, I don't give a shit. I get the message across, and that's what matters. But I'll hone it in. You know, I've only been streaming 4 months, so I'm doing pretty good considering. We're almost up to 300 subs here, which I'm not in a contest for subs. So even if we stayed at 300, I'm more than happy with that. I think it's quality over quantity, baby. And what we have here, nothing but quality. That's where we're going to keep it too. No trolls and all quality people. Every one of you guys brings something to the table here. The Bluebeard. Yeah. Pretty cool. Let's see here. True copyright free. Yeah. eBay ripped me off too much. I quit selling on there years ago. Interesting. Wonder how did they do that? Did they just not give you your money, or did they just tax you, or yeah, but you got all the chat feed kung fu masters in here. You're damn right we do. This is the real deal here, guys. And I'm grateful, man, because there's so many things that could have divided us. And these people here, every one of us, didn't allow that. We were smarter than that, and we outsmarted these people. And everything has worked out in our favor, regardless of what it looks like. They think they've divided us, and flat Earth is over. We need a comeback, if you ask Witsit. We ain't going nowhere. If anything, we've been fortified and calloused and galvanized. This right here is the select, you know, all them bad apples. We see you. We see who you are. You smell like shit and you taste like ass. So, you know, that's a good thing. I think everything is working in our favor, regardless of what it appears. You know, a lot of things look like it's harmful, but there's always positives that come from these negatives. And as long as we take those and run with them, then we're unstoppable, you know, and we're only going to strengthen in time. And, you know, there's new flat earthers every day. Don't let them confuse you and think that, oh, they're going back to the globe, because you do not go back to the globe once you get here. Not authentically, not organically. It's not going to happen. You don't admit to being a flat earther unless you're damn well and ready, because of your due diligence and your understanding of reality. That's just a fact. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and ascertain that somebody went back to the globe after preaching flat earth for 10 years. Give me a freaking break. Yeah, anybody else in here with a channel that wants to drop, feel free, man. You guys know the routine. That's why we all got wrenches. You have any shit you guys want to share or anything like that? Always, always more than welcome to drop whatever you guys want. As long as it ain't no nudity or anything's going to get me kicked off, which, I'm not going to sit there and play scared either. You want to kick me off, kick me off. I'm not going to play that game. We did get a strike the other day from Monkey Cat Pet because he's, probably a little butthurt that his, got exposed that his mama whooped his ass for being too loud. Is a grown man, by the way. But it is what it is. They didn't ban me. I still have the live stream going now. So I just got a strike and it'll be gone in 3 months. But if you get 3 of those strikes is where you're done for. But eventually they go away. So as long as you don't get 3 on top of each other, you're pretty good. But like I said, I'm not going to play the game of, walking on thin ice, or I don't play that shit. I'm not going to say, oh, you're not allowed to say rape or Jews, or I don't give a shit what you say. You say it and you say it with intention. Say it with your chest, because we're not going to be censored. We're not going to, you can censor us, but I'm not going to be in compliance. Homie, don't play that shit. You know what I mean? You're going to sit here and give me an illusion that I have the freedom of speech? Well, I'm going to run with it, and it's going to bite you in the ass at the end of the day. And I'm going to make you censor me. And then you know what that's going to do? It's going to expose you for who you are and how your rights are full of shit. You don't have rights. But that's just, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I don't play that game. And I hope y'all appreciate that and do the same. Because I don't really see why anybody would censor themselves because of fear of, losing a channel or whatever the case may be. We're not going anywhere. Even if you lost your channel, you can hop on others' channels or, go to a different platform. But at the end of the day, we can't play scared. So that's pretty much the list, top of my head list of at what point are we going to realize that everything pushed by the mainstream is a lie, right? So, Monkey Cat's mom's meatloaf had a belt in it for him. Yeah, he did. Had some needles in there. See, self-censorship is cancer? Yes, sir. Carrie gets it. A lot of people do it, Carrie. It's wild, man. Even some of us, the channels I go to, they're like, oh, we can't say that. Oh, fuck that. To each his own, but that's not me. That's not going to be this channel. We say what the hell we want. If you don't like it, fuck off. Take it or leave it. So, well-trained mini? Yeah, exactly. All right. So, I rambled on here for a little bit. Let's get into some type of visuals here. Let's see here. Not this guy. Just bear with me here. I'm going to see what we can quote up here. It's true, fam. When you self-censor, you give the permission to lord over our thoughts. Absolutely, Vlad. We're not going to do that shit. Let's see what we got here. This one just came out 2 days ago. It's some more Charlie Kirk bullshit. Apparently, Erica was at Charlie's Medal of Freedom ceremony 2 days ago. And we're just gonna, it's only a very short video, so we're gonna watch this. And just watch the piss poor acting. And by the way, she's a dude. I'll get into that here in a little bit. I know a lot of this is hard for some of you. But I was there with you guys, year ago, 2 years ago. It blow your mind how different and how evolved my logic has come and understanding of what we're actually dealing with, and I wouldn't say it if I didn't really feel it was the case, but we are dealing with a bunch of bender genders that I could do a whole another stream on it, guys. Probably 75-80% of the hot women in Hollywood are dudes, and a lot of the dudes are women. So we'll save that for another time. But we're going to throw on this Charlie Kirk's Medal of Freedom ceremony. See what this entails. We want to stop and give a quick pause. Shout out, Marcy Chan is in the house. Much love. Greetings. Everybody give a warm welcome, Marcy Chan.
Thank you, Mr. President, for honoring my husband in such a profound and meaningful way. And thank you for making this event a priority.
She's smiling. She's happy.
Amid the peace process in the Middle East. Thank you. Very grateful. Charlotte.
Sniffles after smiling.
Excuse me.
Look at the facial expression change. Look at that turn right there. That's like an actor's face just switching into character.
Charlie, always admired your commitment to freedom.
Got another quick shout out to Greg B. Much love. Appreciate you being here, fam. Everybody give warm greetings and welcome, Greg B.
Freedom. And that's something that both of you shared. So thank you.
The sniffles again. Now here it comes. What are you going to wipe away?
Your support of our family and the work that...
That's to sell it. You
and
got those fucking rings on again.
Something that both of you shared. So thank you. Your support...
Quick pause also, you know, even with her first interview, I think I'm going to play that as well, just to show you guys. I'm sure you've already seen it, but we're going to do it again, baby. You know, when you know where your tear ducts are, they're actually on the inside of your eyes, and that's where the tears come out. So every time you're wiping over here by your ear is kind of a red flag to me. I mean, if your head's tilted, sure, a tear can run down your eyelid and come out that side. But apparently that's never the case. She wipes many, many tears that are non-existent. So just keep that in mind. That's not where your tear ducts are.
It's like MGC.
Support of our family and the work that Charlie devoted his life to will be something I cherish forever. So thank you. To our gracious First Lady in her office for making this event possible. Thank you as well. It's beautiful. To Vice President and the love.
Like, it's just so weird.
Lovely Usha fans, your friendship has been an unbelievable encouragement. Thank you. And to all our friends and family that are here.
What are you wiping? There's nothing coming down your face.
The world.
There's no tears rolling down your face that makes you have to do this. Oh, shit, I fucked it up.
Without God, freedom becomes chaos. And he believed liberty could only survive when anchored to truth. And I remember one of his survive when anchored to truth. And I remember in one of his speeches, he told the audience that the opposite of liberty
and then Trump standing right here
isn't law. He said it's captivity.
This pageant girl is all grown up.
And that the freest people in the world are those whose hearts belong to Christ.
Another thing I want you guys to look at this guy's nose, okay? Look at his eyes. I mean, this isn't, I think there's multiple actors playing Trump, you know? I mean, look at him now. It's just a matter of due diligence and putting all these pictures together. It takes time. But, yeah, I wouldn't doubt if this is some green screen either, you know? It's just, look at his shoulders here. Look how, I mean, what the hell? This don't even look real. This is, you guys see what I'm pointing at here? You see that real dark line? Look at his face. Yeah, what the hell? I don't know what's going on with that. Sea Lightning 300 is in the house. Everybody give a warm welcome. Much love. Dan MC is also in the house. Much love, Dan. We appreciate you being here, fam.
Christ.
Same with you, Sea Lightning.
But what's so powerful is that Charlie had the ability to communicate so brilliantly across all generations. And he reminded us that in a world that tells us freedom is doing whatever you want to do, the real freedom is the power to live freely and to do what is right.
All right, I'm gonna watch this. You get the idea.
In one of his
There's
journal
no
entries,
tears.
he wrote
The
that he
makeup's
wanted
not
everyone
running.
to know that you can't have liberty.
Just her mouth is
without
running.
Responsibility. Freedom divorced from faith eventually just destroys itself. And what's so fascinating about all
right, now look, this part is fucking bullshit to me. This part pisses me off. I just watched 10 minutes of this girl on stage with no tears running down her face, her using the napkin to wipe them away and stop them from coming down. Now watch this. Watch how you don't really see her. You don't have a good eye on her for 10 minutes like you just did. This pisses me off the most.
Okay, show it felt like you deserve it, or you give a noble piece.
You don't.
Quick pause and informative information to Mr. Greg B. You have misgendered Valley Parks. She is a woman. Much love. Shout out. Valley Parks.
See her.
They hope for peace, but really
don't see her.
With someone that laid down.
She just talked for 10 minutes. Oh, is that a blonde? Is that a blonde? Oh, is that her?
And I think that's what the president did today on his birthday. Today is
we finally get a spot of her after we just saw her for 10 freaking minutes wiping fake tears away.
This stinging sensation.
Nothing running down her face 10 minutes ago. She stopped it all.
And I don't think that many people on the other
and
side.
then boom, look at the shot. Look at it run. Perfect shot of it running down.
It's not.
Yeah, look who she's hugging. The fake astronaut. Yeah, remember his wife? She was the one that was in an event where she got her face blown off. It's unreal. The world is a stage. These puppets. This guy, Mark Kelly.
And I don't think that.
Cannot believe this shot right here. You realize, like, you can put something in your tissue and wipe it on your eye like you're wiping away tears, and the thing that's in your tissue goes on your eye, and it's a fake tear that runs down like that. Or you can put something in the tissue that you would rub in your eye that would make the tear come down like that. This is the shot we've been wanting. So why do we get it after you can, like, she's out of sight, out of camera frame, and then poof, the next time you see her, she's got a tear running down her face. Are you fucking kidding me?
On the other side of the aisle, get it?
And the fact that she's hugging this guy, this fake astronaut.
Okay, boom. Look at this guy's ear. Now, what about that ear looks real? Look inside his ear here. Doesn't that look awfully strange? Or is it just me? I think these are masked characters. Yeah, fake astronaut is right. I like to look at their ears because a lot of times when they're wearing masks, their real ear will poke out, and you can catch them not doing a good job here sometimes. Joe Biden had a really bad incident where they forgot to tuck a flap on his ear. So I'm very observant when it comes to the ears. They're also almost like a fingerprint, you know. When they replace these actors with other actors, their ears change and their nose will change.
Turd.
Motives. It's not just if the person.
Yeah, wipe your fake snot. There's nothing there. This is all for the camera. They're making it seem like, oh, they just happened to catch this. They don't know they're being seen right now. Get the fuck out of here, man.
It is the motive of why they did that. And because the killer.
Oh, that fucking tear's so fake.
The value system that many of us hold. Right?
How come you're not wiping it away now? You're just gonna leave it there? You got that pretty makeup on.
Why he did that, and we want that to stop.
Oh my God! Just for the camera shot, yeah. I bet she got a good shot of it.
Or some people that we know that we went to school with or anything.
Probably not, because she would have been on the other side. But you get the point.
About Charlie.
There's cameras all around.
I think his nose is very fishy because his nose never looks like that. Look how unproportionate it is. Look at his nostrils. Look at this big old dent in his nose. Look at the creases. You can go compare this to other Trump recent photos and that. It's not right, man. And then plus, look at his edges. It's almost like somebody drew this on with a crown. Look at all these highlighted edges here. Is that just poor quality on my part, or am I tripping? They always set my quality back down to crap by default. But it's still there.
realize that we're wondering.
Yeah, I've never seen him with a dent in his nose.
Just that tears got me so angry.
It's like Joe Biden, you know, he'll have a butt chin sometimes,
that's what I
but not all
wanted.
the time.
Earlier when you were talking, that's what I wanted at the memorial. The WrestleMania event.
Lit a raging fire.
Funeral.
He killed a 32-year-old father.
What was the other word?
130,000 chapter requests.
Celebration of life.
Envisioned for all of.
Oh, no, look how happy she is, man. Just had the tear, and now she's just giggling.
Trying to find out.
Like, come on. Come on.
When you're a child, you learn about Christ, and you're like, why was he crucified? So your first question is always to be, why was this person murdered? You know, I think a lot of people who didn't know him thought that it was about owning the libs, owning the woke. But it wasn't at all, because all fads and delusions come and go. There will be something after woke that is probably just as bad or worse. So it wasn't about the actual thing. It was about how do you respond to the thing. And
Quick pause and a shout out. Iron FE is in the house. Much love, fam. Warm greetings. Everybody give a warm welcome. Iron FE.
that was what Charlie Kirk was teaching people, was that you do not have to obediently respond to mob pressure. You do not have to behave like the people around you. So it was for Kirk, it wasn't about politics. It was about your response to contemporary politics, the pressure to belong, the fear of being ostracized. I didn't have this when I was.
All right, so I just did a video on Miss International Queen, making America great again, #1 in Ladyboys. And we know that Donald Trump owned the beauty pageants for a long time and had a TV show called The Apprentice. And just today, there's an article in the Wall Street Journal, The Beauty Queens of MAGA World. From cabinet secretaries to state legislators, many women, quote unquote, in today's GOP have one thing in common. That's right. We know what that is. They got their start in public life by winning pageants. Oh, the pageant. So we're going to talk about pageants today. But these pageants go back to the ancient world. They would parade the androgynes around. They worked in the temples. They were part of the government. So Kristi Noem was South Dakota's 1990 Snow Queen. And currently, Kristi Noem is the Ice Queen. It's just facial feminization, tons of surgery, tons of makeup, all the glitter, fairly ripped, low body fat, lean muscle mass, lack of a Q angle. Now, they don't really want these kind of photos out there when they're not standing in the perfect pose. Adam's apple, low body fat. I mean, give them food. They're starving these people to death. It's not an anorexic woman, all right? It's something else. It's the Ice Queen. And we know the ice represents the other realm. Lindsay Halligan, one-time Miss Colorado, appointed by President Trump. See, basically, Trump owned the pageants, and then he could kind of find people. You know, he could find the androgynes that he would take under his wing and get them involved in the MAGA movement. There's some masculine features happening here. I think that one's pretty obvious. Similar to Taylor Swift, we see the Adam's apple. As Seinfeld once said, that's a man hand. All right, these are queens. That'll be my code word. Tall, very tall. A little too tall, but it's basically just as tall as these guys here. Should have been a football player. Wearing the red. It's just like in The Matrix. It's the woman in red. The queen. It's the Red Queen. Halligan's turn in the spotlight has paled beside the glow of another pageant veteran, Eric Kirk, the widow, the grieving widow. Now, it shouldn't be too hard to pull off the grieving widow routine and get all kinds of sympathy, but Eric Kirk has actually failed to pull that off. A lot of people have turned against Eric Kirk. Even people who believe the entire narrative have turned against Eric Kirk. Taller than this guy, low body fat, lean, lots of makeup. The magic's in the makeup. Miss Arizona. Looks like a wild tiger. Not many women have that predatory vibe. Hand on the hips. Look at the pelvis. Very narrow pelvis, I might say, with broad shoulders. Highly feminized, all smoothed out with the long blonde hair. High heels. Now, Charlie Kirk is 6'5". All right, so it's very similar to Taylor Swift. So when Taylor Swift, who's 5'11", stands next to Travis Kelce, who's 6'5", it looks like a fairly normal-sized woman. The makeup and the hair and all that stuff. And so we have the same optical illusion here, and they both basically worked for Trump. There's Eric hanging out with a drag queen. See, this person doesn't strike me as being pretty. Again, the low body fat, the Trump beauty pageant. Silicone implants on the chest, shoulders wider than the hips. It's like a predator stalking its prey, who is the American public. They can fake the camel toe. I think even normal people have noticed there's something off, and they don't quite understand what it is. So like the article said, the pageants teach these people basically how to become actors. They learn the art of rhetoric. They learn how to persuade people in their public speaking. They learn how to walk around on the stage and have a certain presence when they speak. And these people learn this in the pageants. All the world's a stage. The uncovered shoulder to show that it's not a woman. The magic's in the makeup. See, this one pulls it off, but still kind of funny looking if you think about it. And why would a funny looking woman win Miss Arizona? I wouldn't even want to go out to coffee with this person. It's like a wild animal out in the desert. It's a highly feminized, it's an androgyne, all right? This is what they look like. I saw one the other day on the beach doing a photo shoot, and this young person here is Eric Kirk, who was a tomboy. I played basketball since I was 5, and now you're Miss Arizona? Really? How does that happen? Played for the NCAA Division II Regis University, a Jesuit university. Super tomboy, didn't like dresses, but now you're Miss Arizona. Everyone thought I was a little boy. Okay, so that's a quote. That's what Eric said. Everyone thought I was a little boy. They didn't see Eric as a tomboy. They saw her as an actual boy. People thought she was a boy. Why is that? I'm asking the women out there, did people used to think you were a little boy?
Yeah, they like to hide that brow. You know, men have that brow line here, Neanderthal look, you know, and they like to shave their eyebrows and point them in different directions to kind of cover up this dominant brow.
Boy, when you were a little girl? Everyone who saw me thought I was a little boy. I wonder why that is. See, once you look beyond the makeup, you can see masculine bone structure. They're wearing a costume, all right? It's a costume every day because they're all gods in drag. I was just a baller, quote unquote. Is this something out of a Stephen King movie? Like a little boy flying a plane? Is this some plot in like a horror movie? Hijacks a plane? Don't look into the eyes of that child. This is like Children of the Corn or something. This is horrifying. This is like Chucky, all right? This is Chucky hijacking a plane. I always had that girly girl hidden within me. Oh, really? So again, to the women out there, did you have a girly girl hidden within you, or were you just kind of just a girl and that was just normal? And so the tomboy, the super tomboy, who everyone thought was a boy, suddenly turns out to be Miss Arizona. Really? Working for Trump, and is now the Jesuit CEO of Turning Point USA. Sometimes a rod is just a rod, but sometimes it's not. And then one day Eric discovered, oh, I can curl my hair and I can put on the mascara. I can put on the makeup because the magic's in the makeup. I come from a great family that has very amazing genetics. Well, what exactly makes those genetics so amazing? Please tell us more. And most of them don't say things like this. I think this one kind of let the cat out of the bag. Eric Kirk's basically admitting, yeah, I used to be a little boy. This is like disarm. At her husband's funeral last month, aka propaganda political rally event, she demonstrated preternatural poise, surpassing what is normal or usual, extraordinary, extraordinary, transcending the natural or material order, supernatural. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Preternatural is also used to describe gifts such as immortality possessed by Adam and Eve before the fall of man. Adam Cadmon, the primordial sample. Primordial androgyne. In the early modern period, the term was used by scientists to refer to abnormalities and strange phenomena of various kinds that seemed to depart from the norms of nature. Yes, Trump would become the pageant world's king when he bought the organization that owns the Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, and Miss Universe competitions. So Trump used to own these pageants.
You see the reverse reality here. You know, all three of these women most likely are dudes. And I wouldn't doubt if Trump's a woman. You know, look at his anatomy compared to these dudes. And his eyes are obviously closer together. He's got this soft jawline. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but every day that passes, it gets me closer and closer to the mind-blowing reality that is plausible by all means. They're really good at doing it, and they go through multiple surgeries to fool you as well.
And he was involved, and he would go there, and he would...
Shout out to Heresy Seed. Warm greetings, salutations, much love. Everybody give a warm welcome, Heresy Seed.
Find people. It was a recruiting ground for these MAGA influencers. That's where he met Eric Kirk and all these others. More than once, contestants complained about Trump going backstage when they were undressed, something he did not deny. I'll go backstage before a show and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. No men anywhere. Now, does that include Trump? And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant and I'm inspecting it. Oh, he's inspecting the naked participants. There's Trump with the queens. There's a queen. Now, again, Trump is 6'2". Melania, I think the official height is 5'11", but seems more like a 6-footer. This one's got to be a 6-footer, 6'1".
You notice how he doesn't have no crinkle on his nose, no indention. It looks completely different than the character we seen at the Medal of Freedom ceremony. Right? That doesn't look like the same dude to me. Looks like somebody that might pass for him, but they don't get it right. And you know, the more time that goes by before you see that actor, they do that a lot of times where you won't see them for a while, and then they'll bring back a new actor, and it's been a while since you've seen the old one, so you really don't have the comparison. So that's why it is important to go back and, you know, accumulate multiple photos over time to validate what I'm saying.
This one's a 6-footer. So he's basically there standing with a bunch of 6-footers. Feminist icon Gloria Steinman and journalist Diane Sawyer both competed in pageants. So did Sarah Palin. You're telling me you were in a beauty pageant? Is that correct? Was it for blind people? Gloria Steinem with the Adam's apple. Feminist icon. They Live. Is this an outtake from They Live? Now we understand where feminism comes from. Those are the beauty queens of MAGA world. There's many others. It's like a transpocalypse boot camp. They learn how to act like women in public, and then they can progress to the higher level of working in MAGA, working in the government or the media. Prepares them for a life of service to Satan, and they can learn how to lie, and they can kind of sear their conscience. Because if you want to deceive people, you can't really have a...
I think that's something, too, that we need to keep in mind is very telling. You know, that was one thing I struggled with in the past was like, you know, I got to the understanding that all of our presidents, first ladies were actually men, and that's pretty mind-blowing in itself. But then here I was, you know, some Trump supporter and thinking that he's different and blah, 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 blah. But you look at Melania, and there's enough said, you know. I don't even think I need to say it. I don't think that he's any different than any of them. Matter of fact, they're all bloodlines, and, you know, a 13-year-old girl proved that with her project in school, that they're all related, and that just validates that your elections are nonsense and it's an illusion of choice. But there's obviously a trend with their gender-bending mates, you know. I don't know if you see it all over the world. It's not just the United States. Macron was the latest one, but, you know, usually the men look way more emasculated. They look more like women than the women do. And, you know, it's easy to hand dismiss and say whatever and not pay attention to it. But at the same time, when you are very observant to it and pick it apart, you run into a whole new reality of it.
Conscience. They used to think I was a little boy playing basketball and flying a plane. Now I'm just another mega queen at Turning Point, USA. The demon in me is the demon in you. I
give this smile over to you.
Shout out to Brian Roy. Not sure if I shouted you out or not, but if I did miss you, shout out to Brian Roy. Much love, brother. I think you were here earlier. Not too sure, but shout out anyway. Much love, brother. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, this is just a Queens of MAGA, and Trump's ties to the beauty pageants and all that shit. Breaking news. This just in, we're dealing with a bunch of trannies. Who'd have thought? Yes, sir. Brian Roy, you're a real one, brother. And I appreciate you, man. So we'll go ahead and turn that one off and see what we got here quote up. But, just to stop and get an evaluation of where we're at here. You guys following along pretty good and in agreement with most of what I'm saying, all of what I'm saying? Not really. I'm pretty sure I preach to a choir most of the time. You guys are all pretty awake. But like I said, some of us are just in a different point in the juncture of the reality check. So let's see what I got here. Oh, that's weird. Bear with me, folks. It was a good talk. Yeah, I think it's important in these days. It's every day goes by and new psyops come out, and it's just a circular reasoning and history repeating itself. And it's really taxing on top of distracting, and that's the last thing we need. Like I said, usually there's shit going on behind the curtain, so when they do pull it, the psyop or whatever comes tomorrow, just try to entertain what could be going on behind the curtain, or go do your due diligence to find out what exactly is going on, because in my eyes, they're all distractions. Sure seems that way. Let's see what else I got here. This computer's been acting really funny today. All right. So what we're going to go into next, let's see, we watched that. Oh, this is a funny one. Speaking of being able to decipher, some of these infiltrated flat earthers, air quotes, I'm going to show you guys a very short clip of Mark Sargent's, flat earth meetup coming up on November 7th, 8th, and 9th in Quartzsite. I'm sure you've all seen it, but I want to show it and just reiterate what we're dealing with here. These guys sure like to make a mockery. They've had their hit pieces with their Netflix shit, and we've seen it before with their hit pieces. I think The Final Experiment was a hit piece to divide and, get rid of the AE map, and, it's always multifaceted. But we see through that shit. But here's another thing that needs to be seen through. This guy, they want to talk about aliens and spaceships and shit in the same sentence as flat Earth, and I do believe that is an injustice to the seriousness of the shape of our realm. It's not a conspiracy, and they sure like to make it look like everything that they're meeting up for is a conspiracy. So let's watch this and see what you guys think. It's only a minute long.
The 2025 International Truth Expo is being held this November 7th, 8th, and 9th in Quartzsite, Arizona, and tickets are on sale now.
This year, the Strange World team will include Flat Earth Mark, DJ Curious, as well as other less attractive presenters. There are several evening rocket launches currently scheduled, and there have been reports of UFOs, but we haven't seen anything yet.
While we don't expect any flying saucers or little green men, attendees are bringing night vision in hopes of catching a glimpse.
I'm attending the conference because I want some answers, and this guy isn't giving me any. I mean, seriously, do we care that much if Dave is attending?
I am hoping that this guy abducts him.
The truth has been spreading everywhere since 2015, is still growing on social media despite the pushback.
So you can see here, they're going to bring up flat Earth, but show the globe. Yeah, that's a little interesting.
From mainstream science.
Get your tickets right now at internationaltruthexpo.com. Do your own research and always ask questions.
Yeah, so get your checkbooks, guys. Make sure you got your tickets. There might be UFOs there, and ghosts, or perhaps Bigfoot. I don't know. I'm not saying that Bigfoot ain't real, but he might be there. He might have got his tickets. You just never know. So you got to make sure you get your tickets, get out your checkbooks, and get on down there, because DJ Curious is going to be there, guys. I mean, what more can I say? And what more reason would you want to be there? DJ Curious. You can get his autograph. You might even get, the reach around if you're lucky. I don't know. He's kind of curious from what I hear. And he might just float your boat. I don't know. But you're never gonna experience it without your tickets. So just get your fucking tickets and shut up and go push that there are UFOs out there in Quartzsite, Arizona, and rockets being launched. I'm pretty sure there is. I was raised in Arizona, and I've been to Quartzsite many times. It's really a nothing place. There's nothing there. They do swap meets there a certain time of year, but it's really, really hot, so they do it this time of year. But that place is absolutely nothing, and I assure you there's no rockets being launched or anything of that nature. But anything to minimize, the importance of our realm and the shape that we know. We know we don't live in no damn spinning ball, but they're going to show you a spinning ball. Get it right, guys. Bunch of nonsense. But that's aggravating to me, because these are supposed to be on our side people. These are people that awaken globers, and which is fine. I'm glad that they awaken globers, and they've done a pretty good job. I can't take that away from Mark Sargent or Weiss. They have definitely opened a lot of people's eyes. But times have changed, and people get compromised. They might not have been compromised in the beginning, or they might have been compromised in the beginning. We don't know. But either way, they're still compromised. And that's very telling if you have eyes to see. So affiliation is a big thing too. You guys, a lot of people get attached to friendships and feelings and like certain people. And those people are steering you down the wrong road nowadays, but it's hard to let go. And it's just important to know that you're guilty by association if you don't figure it out. Because if you go over there and support and cuddle up with all these people, then you're just guilty. It's not a good look. And, you might come over here and end up getting booted someday, because my tolerance for fence sitters and people that they're too lazy to do the due diligence or listen or understand in a totality, they're problematic, because this is all about division and minimizing the reality of our realm and what is possible and what isn't. And they're doing a very good job of obfuscating and muddying those waters, baby. Keep those muddied waters so nobody can see through it. There's nothing but murky waters in there and poisoned wells. So just something that we need to, in the future, more so. I think the patience is we've been through enough and had enough patience to people to have their time, because I'm not trying to force anybody, or it's not a game to me. And I think that we have to find this common ground and an understanding in order to make leadway in this movement. They think they're going to stop us, but when they think that's at their weakest points, they think they're winning, and that's when we come back and hit them twice as hard, folks. Because we're not easily manipulated. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool them all the time. And there's too many of us that are wide awake. All right, let's see what else I got here. This damn computer sure is laggy. I've already done this one. I don't know why that keeps popping up. I'll close it out. The rocket is a joke, dude? Yeah, I mean, what the hell does rockets have to do with the Flat Earth meetup in Quartzsite, Arizona? Is beyond me. I don't get it. We're living in a real life version of the Truman Show, Erica Kirk speech analysis. All right, we'll throw this one on. See if it's worth the shit. I'm going to use the restroom, folks. I'll be right back.
Feel this room. Feel this room.
Good evening. My name is Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank my name is Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically. Heroically to save Charles's life. And the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon.
She had just seen her husband get shot and killed right in front of her 2 days prior, but was somehow still able to deliver a 17-minute coherent speech in full hair and makeup.
Quick pause, shout out, one mind, one spirit. Much love. Appreciate you being here. Greetings and salutations. Anybody that has seen or heard from DeWitt Straight Laces, I'd appreciate it if you let me know. I haven't seen him in a couple weeks. Just a little bit worried about Mr. DeWitt. He's usually pretty consistent with being here and has failed to do so in the last few weeks. So just shout out to that, and shout out One Mind, One Spirit.
Sudden severe trauma causes not just emotional distress, but cognitive dysfunction, because the amygdala, responsible for fight or flight and for our emotions, is in overdrive, which causes a shutdown of the prefrontal cortex, where we process information. That's why people who experience sudden, severe trauma are often rendered speechless. But not Chatty Cathy. She had plenty to say and did so without a hitch.
And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board, the COO, Justin Strife, and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy, the amazing Mikey McCoy. I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie here in Phoenix.
George Mart will be right back. I'm not sure who you are, George. I haven't seen you before, but welcome, welcome, and we'll see you when you get back. Much love. Welcome.
Phoenix, across America, and worldwide. I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well bringing him home. You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing. You supported him so well, as did he for you. 2 days ago, my husband, Charlie, went to see the face of his Savior and his God. Charlie always said that when he was gone, he wanted to be remembered for his courage and for his faith. Charlie loved life. He loved his life. He loved America. He loved nature, which helped him always bring him closer to God. He loved the Chicago Cubs. And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks. He'd want me to say go Ducks, so I have to since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks. But most of all, Charlie loved his children, and he loved me.
Shout out to Earth is Great 2020 in the house. Not sure, haven't seen you before, but much welcome, greetings, and keep it clean, man. Hopefully you're one of us. I just haven't seen you before. If anybody can validate who Earth is Great 2020, just let me know if he's one of us. I'll check his channel out as well. But greetings and welcome, fam.
With all of his heart. And I knew that. Every day I knew that. He made sure I knew that every day. Every day he would ask me, how can I serve you better? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? Every day. Every day. He was such a good man. He still is a good man. He was the perfect father. He was the perfect husband. So to all of the young people who felt inspired by my husband's faith and hard work, all of you already know what Charlie would want you to do. You know. You know. If you're in high school or if you're in college, go find your local Turning Point USA chapter. Join it. Stay involved. He wants you to make a difference. And you can. You can. The movement's not going anywhere, and it will only grow stronger when you join it. And as my husband used to say in this room, every single day, if you want to get involved, the best way you can do that is going to tpusa.com. That's what he would say every day from this chair. Every single day. I watched his show every day, and he would always say, if you want to get involved, go to tpusa.com. He wanted everyone to know that if they confess, if they confess, hear me when I say this, nobody is ever too young to know the gospel. Nobody. Nobody.
This dope-filled world, right? Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Right. That's exactly.
And it's deadly.
We caught up with Reverend Copeland in Branson, Missouri.
You said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
Nobody is ever too young to know the gospel. Nobody. I know my husband is still here. He's watching over us. He's watching over us. When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, Mommy, I missed you. I said, I miss you too, baby. She goes, where's Daddy? What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget.
A work trip with Jesus.
So he can afford your blueberry budget. So he can afford your blueberry budget. So he can afford your...
Big warm welcome. Shout out the True Earth Whisperers in the house. Everybody give a warm welcome to True Earth Whisperer. Appreciate you being here, fam. Much love as always. Thank you, thank you.
I miss
Yeah, so let me read you some feelings here, guys. I lost my husband, and I am grateful for the quick response. And the President of the United States, he loved you. And the wife of the Vice President, it's a great honor and privilege to have a relationship such as ours. And When I got home yesterday, my daughter ran up to me, and asked where Daddy was. And I said, he is on work with Jesus himself. They are doing wonderful things together, and they will be home momentarily. And I am terribly sad. But at the same time, I am grateful and I forgive the guy that didn't shoot anybody that was a part of the hoax. It takes courage to take the rap for something that wasn't real in the first place. And I do mean it sincerely. And I thank you all. Thank you. Or whatever. Good stuff. Eyes to see, folks. So, Kill the Bank in the house? Kill the Bank is in the house. Long time no see. Shout out Kill the Bank. Appreciate you being here, fam. Much love. Doesn't appear fake and scripted, yes, but I don't know how would act in front of the camera if one of my loved ones. It definitely wouldn't be reading how you feel from a script. It would actually look more like this. And when my sister died, I had emotions that were attached to my feelings that weren't needed to be read. So there's a big authenticity problem with reading how I feel, especially when you are a horrible actor. It is pretty telling that this is all bullshit and not authentic. Thanks again. Keep it together. It's getting really... I love you, Charlie. I love your fake hands. I love the way your open casket really showed off how plastic your hands are. And I'm going to miss them every night because they were so cold to touch in the middle of the night when I woke up from bad dreams. I thought somebody was going to steal my mason rings off my hand. Thank God they weren't rings that could switch fingers at will. And they are actual real rings that are hard to get off of my hands. Okay. It's very tough. Motorboat 69. Motorboater 69 is in the house. Greetings, warm welcome, salutations. Yo, 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 yo. Truth Warrior is also in the house. Much love. Everybody give a warm welcome. Truth Warrior's in the house. Shout out, fam. So, yeah, concluding in my testimony about my dead Charlie is very legitimate. And if you dare speak otherwise and have defamation cases by me guaranteed, I will sue you if you question my authenticity and or organicity. You will be sued if you claim this is fake by any means and don't go with the narrative. Daily bread for the fakery bakery. A little more. All right, let's see what else we got here. I'm going to stick with the topic here of just exposing the ever-living crap out of the mainstream. The lies in the mainstream that they push. If their mouths are moving, they're lying, folks. Even with a little bit of truth dabbled in there, a little bit of sprinkles of truth is present sometimes. But in this case of the Charlie Kirk incident, I am going to say that it is all bullshit. Nothing is legitimate. So yeah, let's go with I don't know. Have you guys seen the how many of you seen the Ashley Babbitt exposure where it was squib pouches and shit like that, you know? I think I'm just gonna throw that on regardless. We got time. It's not too long anyway. It's just a stage capital. It's just another incident of what we're dealing with. And how many times do you got to be lied to is the question. Ask yourselves that. How many times do you get got before you stop allowing the getting to be had? $1 million question. So when they pull the shit tomorrow or next month, I'm going to touch back and see what kind of, see what kind of gain we have here, or see how much improvement we have into not a lot of people were suggesting that the Charlie Kirk shit was real. I am not one of those people. I called it out from the second I seen it, and that's due from the due diligence and being awake to who we're listening to in the first place. And it's not that hard to do, folks. Their credibility is shot, so even if they're telling the truth, you're allowed to be wrong about it. You're a human being, and there is a such thing as crying wolf. So, if somebody cries wolf every single day, and every time you go there, there's no wolf, well, you're going to stop coming when they cry wolf. Looks like we got a big storm coming in. Sounds like a bunch of hail happening out here. Speaking of geoengineering, it's supposed to get down to 32 degrees next Monday at night. So, welcome winter time. Apparently. Nothing is real anymore. You got that right. And that's not an understatement, Truth Warrior. I don't want to be that appeal to extremity or appeal to all or nothing fallacy, but it is what it is. And you got to be honest about what we're seeing here. And I'm open to, anybody calling me out for what I claim on any of this shit. If any of y'all think that I'm full of shit and every single thing on this list, name one that you don't think is that was legitimate, and you're gonna be proven that you're in the wrong side of history here. Because if their mouths are moving, they lie. But yeah, we're gonna go and check this out real quick. The stage Capitol riot of Ashley Babbitt shooting hoax. The insurrection, folks. Not to mention they had all that money spent on Congress trying to claim Trump caused an insurrection, which they're all on the same side, folks. It's all just theater, theater, theater.
Outside the Capitol.
The simulated riots in D.C. was a powder keg long in the making. The evidence for pre-planning and setting up a situation for a disaster is overwhelming. Paid actors.
We can take that place.
Good night,
Let's get him down here on the
I want to confess that I was paid to pretend to protest today.
Hey, I'm gonna break your fucking phone if you don't stop.
They hit me with bullets.
They're not officers, man.
Controllers.
They were guys, they were almost like monitors. They were like corralling them, and they were telling them what to do, and they did everything these guys said.
Bring the rats home!
You can drop down into a room underneath the people.
Take a step back. Get in there, do your job, get out.
And Hollywood tear gas.
Quick shout out to 2 Minutes. Oof. Boom shakalaka. Haven't seen you before, but that sounds like a pretty Glober thing to say. Anybody want to validate who 2 Minutes is, or 2 minutes you could validate yourself by a proper acknowledgement. We're a flat earth community here and truth seeking. We don't allow trolls. So if you're here for that, you'll be gone pretty quickly. And I hate to point people out and, make a skeptical out of anybody, but that's how we roll around here, and we're going to make sure that we're not infiltrated as much as possible. But with that being said, you open arms, brother. Much love and welcome.
In May. All on display for hundreds of professional photographers conveniently on scene. episode, we're going to analyze the climax of the story and show you how a little stage direction and fake blood became an instrumental role in furthering the division of the nation.
And he was hiding there. She had no idea that he was even sitting there aiming a gun right at her face.
It's not a talk anymore!
I didn't see it, but they shot a woman.
This is Everything Wrong with the Capitol Shooting.
I'm convinced it was Energy Americans did it from what I saw.
You guys gonna come in the building?
Only on Woo's News. The Homeland Security Exercise and Evaluation Program provides a set of guiding principles for large emergency response drills. In these guidelines, we read about the various roles such as players, controllers, simulators, evaluators, actors, observers. The term participant encompasses many groups of people, not just those playing in the exercise. The head directors of large emergency drills are called exercise controllers. Their job is to keep things running according to the master plan. And here's a cover of the guidelines manual, which spells sheep. Hasip. Any professional emergency response drill or military drill makes use of fake blood in a variety of forms. Blood capsules, sponges, syringes, and squibs. A simple blood squib is a pouch that is designed to break on impact. There are all kinds of squibs using various pumps and tube assembly. Here's the HydroSim trauma bleeding simulation system. It's basically a small pack containing a fake blood supply and a pumping mechanism and some tubes. Some of them are battery operated. Now that we're equipped with the various roles, let's start the analysis. Aquí, outside the speaker's lobby. As a footnote, I am not affiliated with any gang. And I wasn't paid to make this video, so I'm looking at this completely unbiased. We've also added a time code to Jaden X's footage, which we'll call Angle 1. And let's review the scene with minimal volume. You'll notice how much chaos is happening on screen, yet our eyes are fixed to the woman because that's what we're here to see. No one seems to be concerned with being the next target. It's bang, action. It should be noted that everyone in the room knows what's going to happen. They all play towards the camera. Now, let's take a look at some of our characters. Adam Gray, our photographer. Taylor Hanson, Vetter, Rufio, Fredo, Yellow, Data, Jaden, Thomas Barani, Ninja/Evaluator, Secret Agent Man, or as I like to call him, Sam, Medic/Controller, Parrot Blocker, Shades, Red, SWAT 1, and SWAT 2, Frickin' Frack, and our star, Rabbit. We're gonna break this down together, and we're gonna analyze this with 6 different angles, and in chronological order. Let's do this. Now this is Medic coming into the room. Notice the enormous earpiece. What's that about? Now look what Red does. He kicks the door. Now we see Red either pick up something or drop something, and it looks like Medic does the same. And we know he's the Medic because of this patch or sticker. Here we can see Red has one glove on, and you can see Jaden in the distance. Now we're all kind of led into this room outside the speaker's lobby. We can see Medic has one glove on as well. There's Frick. Oh, hey there. And there's our star. They're just waiting around again. And you can see our star looking in the direction of the weapon. She seems amped up or nervous. And you can see we have Taylor Hanson on our left. Notice how Yellow hands Rufio the helmet. And notice while he does that, we can see Cop 2 and Fredo discussing. Almost like they're waiting for something.
Okay, we got police coming up.
Okay, we got police coming up. Now Frickin' Frack come down. Rufio takes off his hat, changing his appearance. He receives the signal, and they leave. And it all feels a little rehearsed. And you can see Adam Gray push his way through. Now this is Orange in the front. You should also note that the glass is not glass, but plastic, or stage glass. And you'll notice that this barricade was set up before they entered the room. You can see Barani in red to the left of the screen. In about 30 seconds, they're gonna make their way to the front. Notice how our star keeps looking over to the left, as if she's waiting for something. As the officers leave, they're pretending to talk to each other. And you can see how easy this plastic comes out. You see how easy that is? Frack taps the back of Vetter. Jaden is the first one to give the command that there is a weapon at 34 minutes and 49 seconds. And you can hear others chanting the same thing. Notice that the gunman briefly removes his hand from the weapon, like he's communicating, replying to his earpiece. Look how long it takes him to do it. Notice this person just walking in the background. If we draw a straight line from where the weapon is to where our star is, you will see that they don't match up. The weapon is far below her neck area. And boom, right there. Now that's 15 seconds since Jaden announced there was a weapon. That's important. Now let's back it up 15 seconds. We can see this guy point to Orange. Orange gives a hand movement, and look, the Hollywood glass just falls right out. SWAT 1 goes to Sam. Now why would Blue ever be in on this conversation? Blue makes his way past Yellow, where he grabs him, and you can see Barani making a hand movement. And he touches Red on the back, and Barani signals her to get into place. And she goes through, and she's ready to fall. And they all scatter. Notice this guy in the background. No one looks in the direction of the gunman. Yellow gets into place. Now that's Rufio. Right when she goes up, he turns his back. It doesn't make sense that Rufio's corralled all these people into breaking down the doors, only to step to the side and turn his back. In this angle, Rufio turns to take a peek. And he touches Red on the back. And Ninja automatically puts his hands up. Also, notice when she falls back, her backpack looks fairly plump. A perfect breakaway for a fall. And you'll see Yellow breaks her fall, boom, with his foot. And here you can see the plastic glass. Red gets out of the way. And interestingly enough, Ronnie moves down just to touch her. Just to touch her right backpack area. Just for a brief moment. While Sam comes down, he moves her, 9 inches to his left. He's about to reach under her right shoulder. At the same time he does it, SWAT 1 briefly squeezes her right hand, or he's putting something in there. When Sam picks her up, she puts her hands in front of her face. It almost appears that she opens her eyes right there, and she just puts her hands down. Boom, she's set down, and then her elbows go down. As Data and Orange move into place. Now Sam's gonna make a big hand movement. His left hand is still under her right shoulder. Trying to give her a back massage and shit. Who writes this? And look how she's laying. She's still got her right leg up. It's only been 11 seconds since the weapon went off. And here you can see her curl the side of her mouth up, while a drop of blood runs out from under her nose, which takes less than 16 frames. Here it is in real time. No blood. And there it is. And she has her hands like she's about to give a shadow puppet performance. It's just an interesting face to make. No suffering. It's like, boom, instant death. She's basically using that backpack as a pillow. All the while, look to Sam's right. There's Ninja. And Ninja's been there all along. And he comes down with him. And it almost looks like she has a smile on her face. It's almost like a Mona Lisa. And she's holding her right hand clenched like she has something in there. Now you have SWAT 1 coming in, playing a scene blocker. And notice how Rufio is just clamoring over SWAT 3, because there's quite a bit of photographers in that room. Now look, frickin' Frack, he grabs him in the back, and he puts his hands up. See how he just grabs him and he puts his hands up? They were friends earlier, remember? And look at Barani. Okay guys, I'm just gonna pull out my phone. And notice how he looks at his hand. He's gonna do that a couple times. And there's a reason for that. So now SWAT 1's making his hand movements, you know, the big pointing. And now he's gonna put up his weapon. And he does this little dance with his knees. Okay, thank you. Thumbs up. Like he's pretending to talk to someone. And he's like, thumbs up. And now Data moves in. He clumsily takes his book bag off. Now here it gets really strange. With the exception of her nose, at this time code we see there's no blood on her. 3517. We're gonna see her pop in right there. Nothing. 3521. But wait, boom. 3525. 4 frames. That's 4 seconds. And now it looks like she's devoured some small woodland creature. Don't you love how blood defies gravity? But how is that possible? Let's back it up 4 seconds. Now watch. Notice how Sam moves his left hand from her right backpack area, and he goes to grab her hand, like she's doing a peace sign, with her hand, dips it in. Look at that movement. Now you can see him move his hand across her face. But look, she moves her wrist into his hand first. It kind of looks like she's smearing blood on her face, or putting something in her mouth, but you can see the movement. And he swats her hand down. Then he forcefully turns her head to the right. It's hard to see if those are her fingers or if she's holding on to something. Now Sam gets up and all he's doing is just pointing. Look, well, I guess my work here is done. They're both pointing at the same time because it makes for good pictures. You've got the drama, you've got the pointing, and now this blood is just gushing out of her mouth. Don't make no sense. Do you hear that? Y'all murdered this person? It's only been 21 seconds since the weapon went off. Just grabbing him like, what are we gonna do? And notice he has a full beard. Do people in these positions normally have full beards? Maybe? Okay. He's also double masked. Ooh, such a secret. And they just keep pointing. Look. SWAT 1, SWAT 2. We can see that Yellow has changed his appearance as well. And so Data does these big gestures. She's still got her damn hands like she's playing a scarecrow or something. Now this guy coming in, he's a parrot blocker. And he's saying, move, move. Data just looks up, he's like, medic, scalpel. All the while Ninja's still back there, just monitoring everything. Data is just still fumbling through his bag, not looking for anything in particular. Everybody's just kind of moving around her.
Got an active shooter!
We have an active shooter. How original.
Get her down!
Get her down? She is down, bro. God, it's so cringy.
Flashlight!
So So they're screaming for a flashlight. Out of all things, a flashlight. Because the flashlight will enhance the drama of the photos. And it draws the eye down towards the light.
Where's she hit?
Where's she hit? Yeah, it seems like no one really knows. And that's when she opens her mouth, like she's spitting it out. You can see she has blood on her fingers. But when do we see her ever touch that area? And Data taps her left hand and she puts it down and like flicks something away. Fixes something out of her hair. It's unclear if Data is contributing to the blood effects or if he's just a scene blocker. You can see SWAT 1 knees her right arm closer to her. And then she tucks it under her right butt cheek. So this is the medic. He identifies himself as the medic. Notice that wonderful earpiece he has on. And let's see the various ways he tries to save her. Medic puts his water bottle down. SWAT 1 just grazes her. Everybody's just grazing her. Parrot blocker getting up in there. And so medic pulls down the flag that's tied around her neck. And notice he only had one glove coming into the room, which is very interesting. Look, when he does this move, she opens her mouth briefly. Or she says something. So he's only using one hand, and she just lets some of the blood out of her mouth. Thank God for capsules. And her eyes she's looking at things, where before she was just looking straight ahead. At the same time, you can see them just hanging out. And here comes the scene blocker cop. Now Ninja's either just making hand movements for the camera, or he's giving directions to SWAT 1. And SWAT 1 is just fumbling around with this little napkin, this little toilet in a baggie. Notice how Medic tucks this, what looks to be a cell phone, in between Data's knees. It appears Data takes the cell phone away with him. Did you see that? What is Parrot Blocker pulling from her hair? And here he puts it into his pocket. Parrot Blocker shouts to SWAT that he's a medic, yet does nothing. You can start to see his very small pool of blood, like the size of a cookie, right where Sam's hand was. That's when they all come out.
Get back! We can't save her! Get the f*** back! We can't save her!
We gotta get EMS here, guys. Now, notice Ninja just randomly puts his hands up. The cops have been next to him this whole time, and now he's putting his hands up. It's for the camera.
She's dead. I caught her phone. Her eyes light.
Did you hear Jaden? Because he keeps repeating it over and over. He's saying the light faded from her eyes. They're all gaslighting because they know the audio is going to be recorded. So they're all kind of pointing and overacting and fumbling in their little corners. 3621, Taylor Hanson smiles. Look at Shades. And Fredo has no one to talk to. He's got nothing to do right now. And SWAT 1 and SWAT 2 are still fumbling with this stupid fucking bag. What is that, little gauze? So he's just tugging it along on the flag kerchief. Everybody's grabbing for her neck. What's that? That's Medic's hand. Do you hear the scrunch as he squeezes? And then Medic comes in. It almost looks like Medic hesitates, and then he comes in. Now we see this very small pool of blood. See how there's just a small passive blood stain? It leaves no trail or indication of a direction. There's no spine, satellite, or elongation tails. There's no cast off. There's no arterial spray or expirated spatter, which makes the use of a blood squib in her backpack and around her neck the most plausible explanation, which could be why during this whole ordeal they never untie the flag. She's gone, man. We're gonna see that Black Hat cap. He's still just looking for a pulse, but he just declared that she wasn't there. And now look, he clearly has blood on his fingers, and he turns his fingers around and looks at them, and he just wipes them on the flag. Look, he just wipes them on the flag, and he moves it out of the way. And that's when SWAT 1 comes in with his little towelette, dab, dab, dab. Dab, 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 dab. Like this is fucking ASMR or some shit. At the same time, he snaps another photo. Barani's faking a call, looking at his hand. And there's Jaden. And Ninja just ninjas his way over to us. Scene blocker, cop blocks, parrot blocker. Hey, what's going on? Who's that? Oh, he's got a radio. Maybe he'll call for help. No one's doing anything. Medic stands up. See, he's the medic with that sticker. And there's Adam Gray, taking all the photos. And it appears the clock reads 2:47. Fredo still has nothing to do. Now look, it's frickin' Frat. They're still hanging out. Frick sees the camera and begins acting again. Yep, we're still rolling. What? Got blood on the floor. Yeah, not that much. Now that's Yellow saying that. Oh, Vetter, bless your heart. And now look at Rufio with his hand on top of his head like, oh, it's such a shame. Oh, Barani puts his hand around Red. There's the famous photo. Has anyone seen an iPhone on the ground? Nobody's doing anything. Everybody's just hanging out. Angry lady number 1, she's just there to scream at them. Now notice they're still taking photos of her in the background, yet no one has done anything. She's dead, she's dead. Hanson in the background, he's got his footage. This is, oh no, we'll see him later. Barani motions to medic, and now Fredo motions for Bike Cop 1. Look, more pointing, more big hand movements. Do you see any blood on Sam right now? He put gloves on, and he's got little paper towels, or something. Maybe it's a script. They're still just getting all the pictures. Shades is making his big hand movements. Oh, he's grabbing Barani, but notice Barani puts his hand on his back, or he grabs him. And he lets go. Big hand movements. It's jazz fingers. And there goes Adam Gray. What's up, bro? Who later gets fake arrested. And then Red is pushed out with Data. See, they've already made one. And look how uniform they are. Looks like they made it just in time, even though they don't go out that way. And there she goes, with her book bag and flag still wrapped around her. Luckily, they don't have that far to go. Just right out that door. Is that normal? Is that normal protocol? You would think if it was as easy as for everybody else to get into the Capitol, it would be for paramedics. Now we see Sam on the other side of the door, and we see he's littered his latex gloves on the Capitol floor next to the blood. No one would ever do that, unless it was to add drama to the photos. So that's our pool of blood. That sad, pathetic pool of blood. This is classic. Oh, you just stepped in the crime scene. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. I think he does do it intentionally, because it creates a transfer pattern from the heel of his boot. It adds drama to the photos. He intentionally does that. Is that a cop? Come on, guys, is that a cop? Are these cops? And now they put the...
Kind of remind you of the Charlie Kirk incident where they're, not treating it like a crime scene. Start taking everything down and walking through blood stains and shit. I mean, come on.
Black ski cap over the blood. They've got the photos. And that's the guy who stepped in it, now changing his appearance. And those are the sad, pathetic droplets from one malfunctioned squib. Now, let's take a look at the aftermath. Oh no. And so they're all just echoing the same thing over and over again. They're getting everybody to spread the word.
They just killed the girl! He shot a girl right in the goddamn stomach.
I thought it was supposed to be her neck.
He's shooting kids. They shot a girl there. They shot a girl!
This is like the cringe hour.
They shot a girl!
But listen to what this lady says. That's amazing. It completely validates everything we're doing here. And notice coming down the stairs like a damn 80s movie, Thomas Barani, with his hand up. He's about to stop on the stairs and just start screaming.
Shot her and killed her!
And then no one's gonna pay attention. Wow. And now he caught somebody's attention.
Shot her with the gun through the neck. She fell back into my hand.
Bro, why are you lying? Oh, don't you mean your hand fell back into her book bag? Man, this guy's such a creep.
He's not talk anymore! This is too much.
God, this is...
That kid almost looked like Rittenhouse. Remember Rittenhouse? The guy that allegedly shot the people in the street or whatever. Kind of looked like him.
So hard to look at. And here he is again.
They shot her in the neck, and she fell back on me and started to say she was fine at school.
What? Guys, you know none of that happened.
And then she started kind of like moving weird.
Okay, that's true.
It could have been me, but she went in first. This could be you or your kids.
Jesus. And here they're whisking her away on a stretcher. Notice these highlighter badges on all of them. Maybe you can tell me what these are. And maybe you can tell me what this black waistband is. Ooh, looks like they did a touch-up. He totally has his hand on her boob. And you can see she's clearly still alive. And notice all of these van shuttles in the background. Hey, look, it's SWAT 1. What was that about? Even Taylor Hanson got a spot on TV.
And the minute that she hopped up in that pain, she had no idea that he was even there.
No, she only had a 15-second warning. Bruh. From the first scream to her taking it to the neck. 15 seconds.
He shot her right in the neck.
Oh, now it's her neck. Hopefully Jaden will get it right.
Yeah, so basically all the protesters kind of stormed to get into the chamber.
And perhaps our last clip is most telling of all. And here's Jaden.
They killed the girl. They killed the girl. I dead ass have it on camera. They shot her. I seen this shit on camera. They had. I guess we're all done. Yeah, so fuck it. I guess we're all done. Yeah, so fuck it. I got it all.
So what do you think, guys? Can you see what I see? Is this shit legit? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm overlooking it. Please, if you...
Well, hopefully some of you that haven't seen this before, have got a chance to see it, because not everything is seen by everybody. And I think it's important to to get this information, because it just gets swept under the rug, and it's just another day at the office to these people. And to drive it home. This is the same playbook, same tactics as all these other false flags. We see the same shit. Whose channel is this? This looks like, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'll go ahead and drop a link there. It's on the bit shoots. But yeah, you see the same shit over and over, and I think that's what's most important about bringing these, being able to compare them to each other when time passes, instead of just forgetting about them and letting everything get swept under the rug. That's why I decided to have the stream on what it is tonight, and just reiterate exactly what we're dealing with, and how factitious the shit that we're listening to is. Just like another thing that wasn't on the list was like the masks and the 6 feet distancing, mandatory this, mandatory that. And it's like, do you really think masks are going to stop a virus? Do you really think 6 feet are going to stop a virus? These are just indications, just variables in the scheme of lies. And that's all it is. And it's always the same shit, it's, once you've seen one, you've seen them all, basically, because it's just the same routine. But I'm just trying to drive it home, so the people that aren't caught up all the way can just come to a realization that the source, the mainstream specifically, if it's shown on mainstream, if it's pushed by mainstream to a high degree, then most likely, believe it or not, what a concept is probably bullshit. Yeah, there's some funny shit there, Schneider. Since the beginning of time, says the true few. It's for your safety, it's fine. Baphomet gets it. They have your best interest in mind, folks, and don't ever forget it. If it wasn't for the government, we would have never have made it. We would all be probably still in the pond scum, evolving into man. We probably wouldn't even be human beings if it wasn't for the government. Which, that's kind of ironic, because transhumanism is probably going to be a thing here in the future, if it already isn't. I don't know. I haven't really dwelled into that topic too much, but the more I entertain it, it's like, yeah, why wouldn't they want, I'm not saying making fake humans, but making humans that are, they're partial AI, right? So they're eliminating being human to a certain degree, the mistakes, or, they have a better database that they can rely on if you're partially transhumanism, So that's something that I'm going to definitely look into more, but it's an interesting topic, to say the least. I feel like a lot of this shit is fear mongering, or I don't know, it might be distractions, but years go by, and then I look back and it's like, whoa, that was actually legitimate. They were actually pulling this shit on us. But it's all about learning from our mistakes, folks, and we've all made plenty of them, and we'll probably continue to make several more as time goes by. But it's about learning from them, and making sure that we grow, and not continuously fall in the trap of a never-ending cycle of just being faked and fooled and tricked to believe any of this shit is legitimate. So I just really want to drive that home, folks. See what Big Pine says. They want us banging robots. Apparently they make ChatGPT have adult content options now. Yeah, it's a sick world, man. I'm going to get more into what I believe that, I think that we are in Satan's season. It is the season, and there's plenty of evidence for that. I like to do a lot more research on it, and I've accumulated some information, and definitely have it's definitely interesting, to say the least. It sure ties a lot of our beliefs and theories together, and the timelines, and it just really, it's that missing puzzle piece that, every time you answer a theory or a question, it's like it raises more questions than answers. Even though you do get some answers when you dive in. But you know, it's I think that it's important to just to see it in a totality. Let's see. The adult content on Chat GPT will be linked to digital ID because you'll need to upload your ID in order to prove you're an adult. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, but like I was saying about the Satan season, you know, all the questions that got raised during finding out all the bullshit, right? Like that we have been reset and the technology that's hidden and how they were way more advanced in the past. All these things come to light, and you know that missing puzzle piece is just, you know, what if 1776 was the year that Satan was released and was able to deceive the people? You know, it's very hard to deny, folks, because just look around and not be biased. Just look at everything that's happened in the last 5, 10 years, even beyond. You know, just since 1776. Let's go with that date because I think that's when it did start because that's when they rewrote our history. You know, that's our timeline when we were allegedly um, got our independence and all this shit. When we know that history is his story. So if there was a day or time when, you know, the questions are raised like why did they reset humanity? Why did they do this? Why did they do that? And it's hard to come up with those answers without, you know, just all these puzzle pieces that are missing. And it sure seems like that Satan season makes a lot of dang sense because you can't sit here and look me in the eye and tell me that everything you see isn't some type of fakery, right? Like our entire reality is an illusion because of these people. They literally write what our reality is, and they paint the picture for you instead of you organically seeing for yourself. They teach you what to think and not how to think. It's the same with the education system. We've seen it before. So it's just time to wake the fuck up, you know? And I'm not talking to anybody specific, just anybody who's in that predicament and is on the fence. It's time, you know. It's time to wake the fuck up because really it's harmful to just fall for the same traps. If you don't learn from these mistakes and you know, it is what it is. We fell for it. So be it. But it's about what you do from then on, right? It's about what you learn from these psyops because they're going to have more. There'll be more, and it's coming. It's coming next week. It's coming next month. That's all these people do is lie. They do tell a little bit of truth. Don't get me wrong, but that's just to get you convinced of the lies, and we know that we're grown ups and we have discernment. So let's tap into your discernment, folks. I can't express it enough how important it is because just like you know, people coming back from the final experiment and still being flat earthers, that's how they roll. They're gonna have people on both sides, wings of the same bird, and they're gonna steer you down the wrong road, get you to trust them. We've been over this before, and we see it firsthand. There are literally people in this flat earth community that have gained our trust and respect for 10 years and then point out, you know, that, oh, there's something wrong with the AE map when you can't even prove that there was a 24-hour sun in the first place, which was their whole motive, was to prove that before they even went. They were already saying it was there, but we know better because we've seen faked footage of just that. They wouldn't have to fake it if it was real, so there wouldn't be any fakes. None, not one. There would not be one single fake of a 24-hour sun in the south if it was real. So it's just the same shit, the same playbook. We're dealing with the same people. Everything is tied together. It's all that, the pyramid of power, you know, the powers that be and the secret societies who control them. We've been over their symbolism and you know, it all ties really to the Satan season when you look at hip hop and all the satanic worshiping and all the deception. How can we sit here and deny any of that, right? It's getting pretty apparent that that's exactly what's happening in timeline that we're in. That we have no control over, and hopefully that season is ending soon. Some people seem to think so, but there are some pretty good videos that are they're trying to dial that in and try to figure out when this season started, when it's supposed to end, you know, biblically, and you know, a lot of different information that we need to get. But you know, it's something to ascertain for sure. I wouldn't suggest looking into it if I felt it was bullshit by any means. It really does a really good job of connecting the dots, in my opinion. They took the place in town called Mason. Go figure. Yeah. Attack on a Freemason's lodge, and it breaks on the breakdown on his breakdown. Yeah. It never ends, guys. Like, this is just a short list. It took me 10 minutes to write this down, and that's just off the top of my head. I literally, if I did the research and the time, put the time into it, you could write a book of just this shit that we know and have proven to be compulsive lies from the powers that be. But yeah, so just got to keep that in mind, folks. I think that we're going to be stronger the more we talk about it, the more it's like a training, you know. It's we need to be vigilant and do our homework, you know, instead of just regurgitating or being that echo chamber that we get accused of all so often. It is quite interesting because that's literally projection, because that's all they have is regurgitation. Like, literally, that's what they've been trained to do, as so have we, you know. And we broke the system. We broke the cycle of not being able to think for ourselves, and that's the difference between them and us. But we're gonna get lectured by them on what we need to do and how we need to look at it. It's pretty mind-blowing, to be honest. Well, folks, I think I'm gonna be hopping off here pretty soon. I got to get up here early in the morning. Be posting about 12 videos in Satan season and a couple of videos again. Well, that's awesome, Seabass. I definitely enjoy watching your channel, man, and I highly recommend everybody to sub to Seabass. I've learned a lot just from the information on his channel. It's pretty good stuff, and you're doing a great job. And I commend you for that, Seabass. Mad respect, much love, man. And we need more like you. That's all. We need more like you. And you know, we're all gonna do our thing. Shout out to Joe King, Explorer in the Realm, is in the house. You bet, Seabass. I'd imagine that's the real Joe King. But with that being said, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up a little bit early tonight. Unfortunately, I got to get my ass up real early in the morning and still got to do some things this evening. But I appreciate y'all coming in, man, and I'm going to get back on Mondays. I like to try to stay with Mondays, you know, although it doesn't always work out. I'm not retired or anything. I got a full-time job, and so whatever time I do get, I definitely like to contribute to the movement that we have here, and it's imperative. You know, we need to stay grouped up and you know, just pick out those bad apples, and we become stronger in the process. It's that simple. But hey, I appreciate each and every one of you. I love every one of you guys, and I can't thank you enough for being here. And I'm gonna definitely shoot for Monday, and hopefully we'll see you then. Anybody have any suggestions, or you know, they can post them in the comments down below or whatever after the stream ends, if they have any specific videos that are relative to this topics. And you know, I definitely I'm gonna go to Seabass's, and 'cause I pulled a couple good things off of Seabass's already, and I really think he's got a good selection. But that's what's important, you know. Even if you just do videos on your channel, even if you're not going to start your own channel, there's nothing wrong with that, folks. You know, it's a lot of work to have a channel, but you know, if you could just post whatever you like to watch and the things that you do watch, just save them and keep them in there as videos or whatever, and it just makes it to where we're accumulative, you know, and we can go to each other's channels and pull ideas, and you know, not have to do all the legwork ourselves, because we're only human. We only got so much time in the day. You know what I mean? So with that being said, guys, I love you, and I'm gonna play us out with a ditty. We'll go with some True Earth Whisper, not True Earth Whisper, but shout out to him as well. But excuse me, guys. The Zetetic Truth Warrior. You got some good music. I also suggest subbing to him as well. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll play something here to outro. See if this gets me a strike at the very end. They took down my last stream as well for that strike, so but it is what it is, you know. You gotta keep on keeping on. Shout out to Christopher Allen before we go. Much love. I appreciate you being here a little late, but hey, you made it. Much love, Christopher.